Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC-accredited facility, and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselimbembrace.com.
Our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
The Vargas family, legendary Memphis restaurateur, starting with Mr. Charlie and continuing today with his grandchildren.
Brett, it just dawned on me the other day that while Memphis is celebrating its bicentennial, the Rendezvous has been here well over one-third of Memphis's existence. But we're not a place to rest on our laurels or reputation. We're always trying to add new things to make our customers' experience more enjoyable. Friday lunches have always been special because we give away our red beans and rice. But we are now adding a sausage sandwich.
John, we first got a taste of it at the golf tournament.
It's the same sausage we serve on our cheese and sausage plate, but it will be served lengthwise on the bun with beans and slaw on the side. We've also partnered with a company called Devillet out of Dyersburg to introduce a new sweet glazed mustard with Rendezvous seasoning in it. It will really go great with a sandwich. I still recommend adding slaw. As I've mentioned before, my grandfather had a hot dog stand on Beale Street in 1916, and that's the same slaw he used. So here we are now 103 years later, and we've come full circle using his slaw on our hot dogs. Hope to see you this Friday at the Rendezvous.
In the alley in downtown Memphis.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
We welcome you in on this Thursday afternoon, February 13th, one day before the day of love. It's love every day with us. We've got a lot to discuss today. Of course, a lot of college basketball with the hometown team. The Memphis Tigers on the road tonight in Cincinnati trying to make it the season sweep of the Bearcats. Won by 11 when UC was at FedEx Forum back in January. And tonight, Dave Woloshin, you'll be calling the action and a chance for the Tigers to win for the first time in Cincinnati since 2008. That can't be right, is it?
It is right, but you not remember. It's. I think this is only like the seventh time, maybe or less, that they played in Cincinnati, because when Cincinnati went to the Big East, Memphis was not in the same conference with them. So that's a little misleading, that 2008 reference. But here is, I mean, it's true, and here's the other thing that is true. You mentioned a sweep. You know, in the last time the Tigers swept their third longest rival, which is the Bearcats, 1995.
Oh, wow.
You got to go 25 years ago was the last time Memphis was able to knock off the Bearcats two times in one season. So the odds are stacked against them. The good news is that I think they're healthy. All three practiced yesterday. That would be Lance Thomas, Precious Achiuwa, and Malcolm Dandridge. I think Dandridge is going to really be important the rest of the way here, bro.
I do too.
Dave. Against this team. He had 7 rebounds and 3 blocks in about, I think, under 12 minutes that he played in game one. And he's starting to move a little bit better. I know that was a setback when he hit a pop in that knee that was surgically repaired and sat out the last game. But I do believe, if you looked at the games before that, he's starting to move much better. And he's sort of the wild card that the Tigers are going to have. You know, we said 2 or 3 days ago coming into this week, the Grizzlies were going to have a real barometer game. They were going to find out, because the team everybody thinks can catch them is Portland, and this was going to be a real test to see if indeed they were going to be in this race the whole way. And they passed that with flying colors. And in fact, with the Lillard injury, you would have to think the Vegas odds of who makes the playoffs now would be better. I know some people still think the Pelicans are going to. I don't see how you can not look at that Grizzlies 4-game lead for that playoff spot right now and not think, even though they're going to have the toughest schedule of any team in the NBA going forward here for the last 28 games, I would still have to say I think this team has a really, really good shot. Now it's the Tigers' turn. And they're 7-point underdogs. And I'll be honest with you, Brett, I thought they would be bigger underdogs with Cincinnati
Seven's
playing
a lot.
so good. Do you realize they've only lost one game at home this year, and that was a crazy game? They lost to Colgate. Otherwise, they're perfect at home.
Yeah, they were working a lot out with the new coach and the new chemistry then. I don't know if it's completely worked out now. I thought they got robbed a little down the stretch on Sunday. Mike DeCourcy said yesterday he thought the contact may have been a little bit after the clock had expired. He didn't think it was as obvious as what I thought it was. But Mike also elaborated on this. He doesn't think tonight for either team. I asked him, is tonight an elimination game? He said he doesn't think so because there's still a lot of basketball to play, not just between those two teams or for those two teams in the schedule for them. Obviously, the Tigers have 7 more after tonight. Cincinnati I would think in and around that number. But just all the moving parts of college basketball. And the team that might be rolling along pretty well right now, who knows if they hit a late February skid? Who knows if Mississippi State can really hang on to one of those at-large bids? There's still so much basketball to play that tonight is not quite the stakes that maybe early in the week I thought it was, but we do know it would really calm the fans and the team and the coaching staff to kind of make up for that loss Saturday to South Florida.
Well, your point is really well taken, how we as fans and even media members get caught up in one game. I started to think with Perry and Mississippi State, and then Howland, I think, is a terrific coach. I thought, okay, they're poised to make their move. And you and I have had this discussion that this doesn't seem to be on this year. And then they go, and I know it's a league game with a rivalry and it's on the road, but to lose the way they did in Oxford, now as a fan, you're going, hold it. This State team, they're pretenders. They got the one guy. But the truth is, you really have to look at this as a body of work.
You sure do.
And so Mike's point is well taken about tonight. But I do think that if Memphis is to get back into the picture as an at-large, they've got to at least split on this road trip. But it would go a long way to beat a team that KenPom today has at 37. If you were to win a road game against the 37 KenPom team, I don't know that it totally erases the USF game because I'm not
goes
sure
a long way.
Anything does, but it helps.
It sure
helps
does
a whole lot,
and it changes the topic and it changes some of the frowns are turned upside down back to more smiles. We know the magic of winning. It's the magic marketing plan. It's the magic. It's why we play. There's no feeling like it. There's never been a drug made like the thrill of victory. And we know the other side, the agony and defeat, and knew it last Saturday afternoon. Arkansas now, and they have injury trouble. They're now a lot more wobbly than we thought 2 or 3 weeks ago. And Dave, you mentioned it one day early in the week. I think when we were at Dennisville's on Monday about the number of Big Ten teams, and Mike had a good answer to that as well yesterday. He's not that fixated. He's not that off-put by the number. He just wants them worthy of it. He said, I don't. He said, I don't care how. He said, I don't care how big the number is. I just want them worthy of it. Well, what if they start chewing up each other and eliminating each other? Then there's going to be 68 teams. There will be 36, 37 at larges. How many? Because how many automatics anyway?
I forget.
Yeah, so we're going to have 68 teams on that board when CBS does that nationwide bracket reveal, and there's still so many games to play. Now,
That's funny because I was just going to remind you that what do you like to say? 68 teams have to make it.
Guarantee it.
And you've got 7 regular season games to go, plus which you got twists and turns with crazy conference tournaments, and there are going to be some that will knock out some teams that think they're going to be in because there's always some sort of an upset, and then there'll be the uproar that conference should have gotten 2 in, and all the nonsense that we always got. But that's just part of it. 68 teams have to make it. At this point, Memphis is outside of it, but they have a lot of opportunities, starting with tonight, to take a step forward and get it. But they've got to play better than they've been playing.
They sure do.
And I don't know. I think it was you that asked aloud, and it might have been during the break, but I think it's a fair question.
Be careful.
To ask.
Be careful. It was during the break.
How many teams have lost the game by 40 points.
It was over there.
And then really been a factor down the stretch into the NCAA tournament. And I don't know the answer to that. But
and I'm not doing the research.
This team was really cruising right along, and this team was definitely going to get into the NCAA tournament. And this team had an identity as a team that came back at UAB, that built a big lead when it was in doubt against Ole Miss. They came back and won at Tennessee in an unbelievable atmosphere. That came back and, frankly, won the game at USF when it looked bleak down there. What's happened to that team? And I don't know what occurred in Tulsa, but that's where it began. All this doubt began with a 40-point loss, and it's hard to explain that. And somebody's got to do the research on that. One of these Athletic or the Ringer or some darn
I'm not
really good sports journalistic entity, and figure. I'd love to know how many teams ever lost a 40-point game and came back and won games. I guarantee you there are some, but I would bet that the vast majority is that's not it's not a good season for a team that loses by 40.
Well, it does something to you. I've talked about in college football. In college football, the team that loses to the FCS opponent, the FBS, particularly Power 5, if you lose to an FCS opponent, it takes a while, a couple of years to wash that loss off. It does something to you for a while, and I just know human nature. To lose, the Tigers go out there and they lose a, 13, 15, 17-point game, whatever it is. But by 40, it had a rocking effect to everyone. 8 games remain, Dave. Do you agree or disagree with this? Kind of a hard one. Do you agree or disagree with this? Of the 8 games that remain tonight in Cincinnati, at UConn, home against East Carolina and Houston, at SMU and Tulane, home against Wichita State, and at Houston, the only 2 gimmies that you can almost write in indelible ink, at home against East Carolina and at Tulane. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I'll disagree with that because I would have said the game at against USF at home would have been a gimme. I'm not sure that you can go to Tulane because I've seen Tulane beat some teams this year and just absolutely win the game. Now, I think you will, but I'm not going to guarantee that.
So you can't.
So I would give you the only guarantee is the game at home against East Carolina, and then maybe Gardner goes crazy in that game. So what I'm saying to you is I don't know if there are any gimmies in college basketball today. The only loss Cincinnati has had at home this year is to Colgate. Come on.
Yeah.
Who the heck knows what's going to happen here? How many good teams have lost by 30 points this year? That are really good teams. A bunch. It's the craziest year. So to answer your question, I'm not sure there's any gimmies. I do have a feeling that Memphis will win a game that they're not supposed to win. Maybe it'll be tonight. Maybe it'll be Sunday because they're going to play right down the middle with UConn. UConn's not a great team, and Memphis has won at UConn before, and they played really good games there. So that should be a pretty darn good basketball game. I do think Memphis should beat one of those 2 games with Houston. Probably the one at home would be the one you'd think, even though I think that's the best talented team in the American. And, I think they should get Wichita State because Wichita State has trouble scoring, and something's wrong with that team, too.
They've got a big one tonight.
Like they have in the past.
Wichita State in a big game tonight. Dave is in Cincinnati where he will call the action of the Tigers in Cincinnati. I'm in our Family Leisure studios where family and fun come together, help Family Leisure make room for the incoming inventory, save thousands on all floor model spas, floor model play gyms up to 50% off, patio furniture 10 to 50% off. Don't wait until May to purchase your swimming pool. Buy now and get scheduled for spring installation at Family Leisure. Additional discounts on all swimming pools, grills, fire pits, outdoor kitchens, all at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Dave was with us. He will be with us till about 3:30. Then at 3:30, when we come back from the break, we'll say goodbye to Dave, but we'll welcome in our friend Mark Wise from ESPN calling games. He's en route to Dallas. I don't know from where, but he's always on the road doing college basketball. 4 o'clock, we go inside Hoop City, and we do it with old number 34, Elliot Perry, the original goggles in town. John Morant, you weren't the first to wear goggles in town. Elliot Perry did that a long time ago. 4:30, Alan Bell, our friend from CBS Sportsline, to talk XFL, TV ratings, gambling odds, NFL draft, a whole lot of things with Alan Bell. At 5 o'clock, Chris Raby, we go to Jupiter, Florida, to spring training, not really to talk about the Cardinals, but talk about the Astros press availability today, a textbook in what not to do in media and PR relations by Jim Crane and the Houston Astros today at 5:30 from Clutch Points app and Blue Ribbon Magazine, and Marching to Madness, Blake Lovell on college basketball, particularly the SEC, and we wrap it up at 5:45 with Taco Bell Crunch Time. This hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis, offering the Golden Opportunity Valentine Sales Event. Great offers on all 2020 models and always special lease options. If you've ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look great in a Lexus as well. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. Lexus of Memphis, the high standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. And online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Dave?
Well, it's since we talked about the Tigers in the showdown tonight, there's another Tiger, by the way, who started with an eagle today.
Eagle landed.
Birdie number 5. He's 3 under through 5 holes, and Matt Kuchar shot 7 under at the Genesis. So he's, he may go 1 or 2 under now the rest of the way because he's already going to get top 10 or 15 money. He doesn't care about winning. Tiger is in great position right off the bat. But no, it's the Grizzlies win. It's the Grizzlies win that puts them 4 in front of the pack. It's the Grizzlies win over the team that's chasing them the most, Portland, and who lost a key player for I don't know how long. And what makes it interesting is that this was a win where Jaren Jackson didn't have a good game, where Dylan Brooks didn't have a good game, where Valanciunas had 18 rebounds, but offensively, he wasn't that good. But guess who was? Ja Morant, goggles and all, that'll be the new thing. Although he needs to know the first guy with the goggles was Elliot Perry.
That's right.
And Brandon Clark was outstanding in that game. And that's certainly the story to be talking about, that the Grizzlies are definitely for real and go into the break 2 games over 500 and a 4-game breathing space between them and the pack to make the playoffs.
That's pretty good. That's pretty comfortable right now. They're safely ensconced in that 8. And you're right, my top story is the same thing. And for real, that's a good line. The Grizzlies are for real. Yeah, it's young and plucky and fun and new and unexpected, but they are for real. They storm into the break with an exciting 111-104 win over their nearest pursuer for the 8th and final Western Conference playoff spot. And Ja Morant had the crowd dazzled. A great crowd last night, too. He had them oohing and eyeing from the open, just seconds into the game. Maybe I think, no doubt, the most electric player in Grizzlies history. Stromae would have some big dunks and get the crowd fired up. There were great moments all through the years, but
Jason Williams also had some great moves
that's
that
for
people
sure.
appreciated.
But this is a big star. I mean, a superstar. If he's not the bang-up box office draw and ticket seller, then we will never have one. Because this is prototype. This is at a central casting for him to be this kind of big star.
Not top story of the day.
Well, Brett, for me, that's exactly what you said earlier. The Astros, who are clearly not as good at apologizing as they are at cheating. Never have we seen such insincere and prepared and just, okay, we've got to do this kind of an apology. And I don't know what the answer is. I talked to an Astros friend today who basically was saying, we're never going to get people to accept it or like it. So what we need to do is do like Kobe. Embrace being the villain. maybe that's the only way the Astros can go from here on out.
It was one of the worst PR rollouts maybe since Ross Bjork, Hugh Freeze, and the Chancellor had that press availability, that it looked like they were reading a hostage manifesto. Like somebody off camera was holding them hostage and making them read, the propaganda.
Terrible.
The owner of the Astros was a walking, talking contradiction, and then the players. And for Jose Altuve, let me tell you what he's got at stake. He's got Cooperstown at stake someday. I think he is.
Wow, that's a good take right there. Because you know what? Until now, you would have to say if he continued
he's in
at this pace just for 2 or 3 more years, he was going to be in. But you know what? That clutching of his jersey and his weak non-explanation about that wire or whatever he was gripping. That could come back to haunt him. I had not thought of that, but I think you're right. Sooner or later, he's going to have to answer to that to get into Cooperstown.
And it's my not top story. The Astros will try to explain it all away, but they can't, and they're caught, and they're very guilty. They look guilty. The buzzer jersey stuff was a new layer to it. I'm still not that put out by it. I wasn't at all when it was just old-fashioned, run-of-the-mill garden variety video surreptitiousness and sign stealing and trash can banging. But the wire, and he had it. And today Carlos Correa definitively said, no way. You can write it down. There's no way he did it. Well, then why so protective? And that wasn't in the 2017 season. That was last year, wasn't it? And nobody will ever look at their title and their great play over 3 or 4 years the same way again. Who knows? Rob Manfred may want to replay the playoffs. He's up for every other idea.
Rob Manfred needs to rethink his whole hardline stance, because I think public opinion is starting to slip on him on a lot of different fronts.
Do you strip him?
One more not top story? That is the news today after the injury to Lillard, that Devin Booker will be the one that replaces Lillard on the All-Star team, not just to shoot in the three-point shootout.
Yeah, I think he deserves it. Ahead of Ja, I think he deserves it.
Well, you know what? I'm not sure he does. He's got a lot of points on a bad team. I would have taken a good hard look at your future, and your future is Ja Morant.
Yeah, but Booker's the future as well, and he's got a little more, maybe the Meritorious Service Award, a little more, company time for him. It's not a bad choice. The Lillard injury, I don't know the extent of it post-game. Of course, they were just talking about it being a groin strain, a lower body injury.
Right,
I'm afraid it's one of those injuries where that muscle tears from the pelvis, and that is a long, painful rehab.
If that's the case, I have no idea, because I've not seen that or heard that. But if that's the case, he's definitely out for the rest of the year.
Oh,
if there is any kind of a tear there, first off, when you get a pull like that, those things, it seems to me that if they heal, it really takes a long time. And you always keep pulling it. You always sort of set yourself back a little bit. So that is not good news for the Portland Trailblazers.
On most levels of sport, they're horribly diagnosed, but I can tell you one of the foremost doctors in the world, and he can quickly tell it, and that's Dr. Azar at Campbell Clinic here in town, and he helped my middle nephew with that injury. We had it diagnosed as a hip pointer. I mean, we were trying to stretch it out, everything you could do to it, and finally got to him and got it straightened out. He is an expert in that injury, and if that's the case, then Damian Lillard is going to be out a while. But it was Ja Mania last night. It'll be Tiger Bearcat Mania tonight. Dave, I know you got to cut loose.
I do.
It's going to be a late night for you tomorrow. For tomorrow, I'm going to ask you this, and I want you to ask. I said yesterday I didn't want to crack on you about it because I know you don't make the plans, but I thought this would have been a road trip. You stay in Cincinnati tonight. You fly to Hartford tomorrow. You practice at Connecticut Saturday, and you just stay out on the road. I want you to explain tomorrow why y'all didn't do that instead of back home tonight and then back on the plane Saturday.
Well, I guess really quickly, and I'm guessing when I say this because, we've only done that extended trip a couple of times in all the years that I've been doing these games. We did that in Dallas to Houston one time. We might have done that Houston to Connecticut or Cincinnati to Connecticut on another trip, but I'm not exactly sure what the total rationale is. But I would say this, Brett: there are several married people that are a part of this traveling crew. And tomorrow is the day you salute love.
Understood.
You mentioned it in the open.
Understood.
You imagine if we were not home for Valentine's Day, how bad we would look?
Well, and the youngsters, the student athletes have class tomorrow. Dave, we'll see you tomorrow at 3.
Yeah.
We'll be listening to you tonight. Thank you so much. Be safe, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Dave Wolo on the road with the Tigers. We break. When we come back, we will visit with Mark Wise. We'll keep the college basketball talk going. We want you to be a part of it. You can watch us live and message us at Sports56 WHBQ on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, and Instagram. You can call us at 360-8255 at the First Bank phone line, and you can text us at 67129 at the First Bank text line. You're listening to Sports Time with Drew Barrett on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats as well on Real Sports Talk, AM 560, 87.7, and 96.1.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab a seat every afternoon for Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 FM and 87.7 FM.
Thinking about building a home? Perhaps a renovation you want done right. Whatever your plans, contact Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Ken understands it's a big decision. That's why he works closely with his clients, ensuring they get exactly what they want and expect. Quality construction, on time, and on budget. For 2 generations, Ken Garland Home Builders has been building and renovating fine custom homes all across the Mid-South. Nothing is finished until everything is right. Call 901-751-1632. Online at kengarland.com.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
The construction reduction event is on at Wolf Chase Honda. Exciting changes are in the works and inventory must be reduced. Get the best deals right now on all remaining 2019 Hondas while they last. Every new car, every certified, every used car, price to go. Get pre-approved now at wolfchasehonda.com. Wolf Chase Honda is expanding and our prices are dropping. Don't miss these savings. Act now. This huge construction reduction event ends soon.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family-owned since 1981.
I'm thinking wine. Sweetgrass has such a great wine selection.
I'll just have water.
Water? We didn't drive. Look at the great prices on Sweetgrass's wine list.
Nope, just water for me.
You okay?
I'm great, never better.
But you're drinking water. Wait a second. You always said that if you...
That's right.
You wouldn't...
That's right.
So you're saying you're...
That's right.
This is fantastic. I have a designated driver to Sweetgrass for months.
That's your takeaway from this news?
I mean, the baby thing is great, but a designated driver to Sweetgrass for months.
The Can-Am Spring Fever event is here and ready to take you on the ultimate off-road ride and get you some serious savings. Can-Am is built for ripping through trails, crawling through mud, cruising over dunes, getting the job done. Get it done for less. Farmers and ranchers can save up to $1,500 on select 2020 Defender models, or even on select 2019 models, save up to $2,500 during the Spring Fever event. Get yourself a new Can-Am off-road vehicle at a great price. Visit us today, Olive Branch Motorsports, 5656 Goodman Road, or online at obmotorcycleatv.com.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Dave on his way to the arena in Cincinnati, where he'll call the action tonight. He'll be back with us tomorrow for the full show from 3 to 6 tomorrow afternoon. After a late night arrival back home after the Tigers and Bearcats game tonight. Big one for Tigers in Cincinnati. It's big for everybody this time of year in college basketball. And to talk about college basketball with us, we love visiting with Mark Wise. You can follow him on Twitter at MWHoops. Mark Wise joins us now en route to Dallas. From where? You're in a car en route to Dallas.
No, I'm in Dallas now. I was at College Station last night. I had Florida and Texas A&M last night, and I have Houston and SMU and another big game in the American on Saturday. So it just didn't make any sense to go back home. So extended road trip. And you were last night. Your duties part of the Florida Gator Radio Network as the analyst, be TV for you on Saturday. Mark, I saw Florida last Saturday in Oxford, and I'm not trying to be overly critical. I'm just going to tell you what I saw. I saw a team that did not play hard, and I saw a team that did not respond very well to Mike White in the first half and really kind of laid down in the second half. Why is Florida kind of in that position with the lofty preseason expectations? Well, let me correct you on a couple of things. One is I did TV last night because because of all my TV stuff now, I'm not doing Florida radio any longer.
Okay.
The other part is when I went back and looked at the tape of the Ole Miss game, I saw wide open shots, and this has been part of the Florida problem. Wide open shots in the first half that get missed. Meanwhile, Brian Tyree is jumping up and just making tough shot after tough shot. I thought Florida got demoralized more than anything else mentally, from a mental standpoint. Now, who do you blame for that? Well, we can argue that all day long, but so many coaches say when your offense is not going, it negatively impacts your defense. Well, to me, that means fix your offense. That doesn't mean fix your defense. So, again, Florida last night made multiple threes. They do everything in bunches, Brett. They play good, they play bad. They make shots, they miss shots. They defend, they don't defend. They turn the ball over, they don't turn the ball over. And sometimes it's not game to game, it's half to half.
Mm-hmm.
They are inside the bubble right now thanks to two miraculous comebacks. One against Alabama and one against Georgia, both at home. You just can't rely on that down the road. I will tell you this, their schedule down the stretch in the SEC is both brutal and full of opportunities. They've got Kentucky twice. They've got LSU at home. They've got Tennessee on the road. These are all quadrant one opportunities.
You mentioned last night the win for the Gators over Texas A&M. Buzz Williams, he's getting all he can get out of this A&M team, but he's laying the foundation for something special going forward.
Yeah, he's certainly coaching with one eye on this season and one eye down the road. They've totally changed how they play, and I mean they're a grinded out, defensive minded team who plays hard on every possession. And if there was a knock on the A&M the last 3 or 4 years, you never knew which team was going to show up. They were always really good on offense, but you never knew what you were going to get defensively. But you're right. I mean, he squeezed more out of a group who cannot shoot the ball straight. They were 5-5 in the league going into last night, so they've slipped under 500. But for this team to be as crooked a shooting group, they're not in the top 250 in any shooting category. Field goal percentage, three-point percentage, free throw percentage. And for that group to be 5-5 is, I think, a testament to Buzz Williams.
At this point, Auburn's probably in better shape overall for this season they were at this time last year, but we know where that ultimately ended up for them, and a disputed call from playing for it all on Monday night after the heartbreaking national semifinal loss. Can Auburn at least get back to the Final Four this year? Are they capable of that?
Well, they are, but so are 30 other teams
this
year. And the last time I checked, they're only going to allow 4 teams in the Final Four.
That's it.
So you hate for that to be the standard. Auburn basketball, has had some small pockets of success, but nothing sustained, nothing what Bruce Pearl has gotten out of the last couple of years. Now, remember this. Everybody talks about how much they lost, and that's true. There's no question about that when you're talking about Harper and Brown and other guys involved, but they also had a lot coming back. And you add to the mix Okoro, who is, I think, a first-round talent.
I do too.
They are really talented, and they're built a little bit differently. They don't shoot the three quite as well as they did last year, but they have much more confidence in throwing it to Austin Wiley block to block. So they're built a little bit differently, but you take in the Bruce Pearl coaching acumen and what he seems to get out of his team. Yeah, are they capable? Yes, but in this year of college basketball, I think by the time we get to mid-February, we usually go, okay, the winner is going to come from this 8 to 10 teams. I don't think we can say that this year. I think as many as 20, 25 teams could win the whole thing.
Everybody's saying that, and I keep waiting for the boil down, the drawdown, the separation from the wheat from the chaff to start. And darn, Mark, if I don't think it's expanding instead of boiling down.
Yeah, and I've tried to explain it this way. I think there are 3 things at play. Number one is all the transfers. The transfer epidemic that we have in college basketball has really spread the talent. More teams are more talented from, I want to say, roster 1 through 6. The negative impact of the three-point line, I think, has impacted the game and kind of brought everybody to a parity point of view. And then lastly, in terms of overall, I don't think the one-and-done group is quite as good as it has been, so that doesn't allow the Dukes, the Kentuckys, the Kansas to really separate. So you throw those 3 things together, and I think that's probably the reason why I can say with confidence I think there are 20 teams that could win the NCAA tournament.
Mark, it does something for my soul for me to have a bracket in my hand, and I have 2 brackets in my hand. I printed today the SEC tournament bracket in Nashville, and I have the AAC bracket in Fort Worth, Texas. Tonight, critical games in the AAC, only 2, but here's the potential.
Right.
A Tigers loss in Cincinnati and a Wichita State win tonight against Wichita State plays UCF tonight.
UCF.
If you have those things happen, we wake up tomorrow morning and the Tigers are in the 6th spot, and that means they would be playing about 9:20 on Thursday night if it started with them being in the 6th spot in Fort Worth. That is Nowheresville.
Well, I will say this. From a fan's perspective, I think it's tough, but these players, that doesn't matter. These are AAU guys that have played at 9:30 in the morning, 10:30 at night. I tell you who it impacts, the coaching. It impacts the broadcasters because that's a late hour for me, brother.
Because we're old and tired at that hour. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's I'm going to state the obvious here. I think it's a huge week for Memphis with the 2 road games.
It is.
They've got to get, in my opinion, at least one of them and go from there and see what they can do down the stretch. And you're right. I mean, you really want to be in the top 4 of any conference tournament where buys are part of the mix. It's also an important game for Wichita State, and that is not a given either. I mean, I had the first game when UCF went out to Wichita State. We had a lot more offense in that game than I thought we would have. I've got to believe tonight it'll be a slower-paced tempo. Wichita State just is having so much trouble scoring from a percentage standpoint, from an efficiency standpoint. So it might be the first team to 55 wins that game tonight. But no question, 2 big opportunities for Memphis and Wichita State on the road.
And Connecticut playing better. That's who the Tigers face on Sunday. They did
much
not,
better.
They did not. They did not. They kind of hit rock bottom here in a 7-point loss to Memphis a couple of Saturday afternoons ago, and better since.
Yeah, I mean, Book Knight is playing lights out right now, so he gives them another scoring threat, which kind of has more than made up for the loss of Tyler Polley. They, in a lot of ways, Brett, they've been the hard luck Huskies. I mean, they've been in a lot of games, and for them to finally kind of get over the hump with that Cincinnati win, and everybody was talking about the last play in that game, and I got to tell you, when I saw the very first play, I thought it was a foul. But when you see the back handheld camera from the opposite point of view, when Cumberland steps back, he then jumps forward. So I thought that was a good no call.
Yeah, and Mike DeCourcy yesterday with us said it might even been a tick or two. If it's just a little bit of a tick after the clock, the game's over.
Right.
And
I thought it was a good no call.
Yeah. On Sunday, I thought it was robbery and talked about it on Monday. But as the week goes on, I've changed on that. Very similar as the week's gone on. You know, there's so many friends of mine, and our producer, Drew Barrett, texted me Saturday after the Tigers lost South Florida. I was in Oxford for Ole Miss in Florida. You know, season's over. I got that from a lot of Tiger friends. I kind of felt that too. But as the week goes on, the hope springs eternal. And tonight, a win over Cincinnati, I don't know if it makes people forget last Saturday, but it goes a long way to healing.
Well, just remember that sometimes fans tend to think an optically bad loss is a bad loss on your resume. And if you have a loss in quadrant 2, I don't care who it's to, it's not bad for your resume. It just isn't. The committee doesn't look at it that way. Now, you've got some warts in quadrant 3 and 4. Yeah, that's a problem. So from that standpoint, you know, you look at USF and you look at UCF and what they've done, and they're at the bottom of the league, and you think, well, losing to them is certainly rock bottom. It may not necessarily be so. There's also this, and I have to remind everybody about this. Everybody thinks that a bad loss negates a great win. Nothing could be further from the truth. The committee asked these 3 questions of every team's resume. Who did you play? Who did you beat? Where did you beat them? Mm-hmm. So they want to know the best parts of your resume. When things get really tight, then other factors like who did you lose to comes into play. But if Memphis were to go and beat Cincinnati on the road tonight, there's no equation of losing to USF. The Cincinnati win is significantly better than the loss on the dark side, if you want to think of it in those terms.
And tonight would go a long way for it. A second-year coach for Memphis, a first-year coach for Cincinnati. Maybe early years of Mick Cronin against Josh, but Mick Cronin had a little more experience than that. That's rare for in this rivalry, because that was kind of a Huggins, Larry Finch, John Calipari type, Mick Cronin type deal for a long time. So two really young coaches or newer coaches in these jobs, in lack of experience in these jobs tonight. Mark, thank you so much. Safe in your travels, and we'll be watching and listening, and people can follow you on Twitter at MW Hoops, and it's a good one. Thank you, Mark.
All right, thanks for having me on, Brett.
You got it, Mark Wise from ESPN, talking college basketball with us, and it would be a different step and a different feeling around town tomorrow with a win tonight. 7 points under, 7-point underdog. Dave said he thought it would be bigger. I was shocked. I thought that was a gigantic number when I saw it. 8:45 this morning, first time I saw it.
I don't think it's gigantic. I think it's about right. If it would have been 10, I thought it'd been too much, but I honestly thought it'd be somewhere around 5.5 to 8.
Yeah, they really keep up with this stuff.
There's a reason they give out lobster for free.
They're real sports fans with protractors, slides, rulers, all kind of theories. I mean, that's Ivy League MBAs in there figuring this out. It's not just bunch of guys that like running up down the court like us.
No, they're not just guessing numbers. They've got a pretty good hold on the game.
And if they guess wrong, guess what? They're out. They can find new Harvard and Penn MBAs to come in there at those places that establish the point spread. We'll talk a lot of point spreads in XFL and NFL draft with Alan Bell around 4:30 from CBS Sportsline at the top of the next hour to start 4 o'clock, just like we do every Thursday. We go inside Hoop City with Elliott Perry, and I know it was fun listening to him on the post game last night. This team, hadn't it been a pleasant surprise and just so fun to go to the games and see the people being drawn by Ja Morant. Big-time superstar, we have it. One of these days, he's going to be firmly in this All-Star weekend, and it's not going to be in anything but on Sunday night.
And ultimately, I think it could be next year, and I think you could have made an argument that Ja should have taken Damian Lillard's spot. But I think Devin Booker.
I'm not offended by it, though, are you?
No, I'm not offended.
I mean, I don't want to put on my Captain Memphis mask and go around town and be all mad about it.
I'm not waving the Ja Morant flag today over it.
I can definitely see the attributes of why he should have, but I also see it for Devin Booker and why he's there. And it's not just going to be Ja going forward. It could be a lot of All-Star weekends going forward, not one but two Grizzlies, primary to All-Star weekend, with Jaren Jackson being one of those. Wouldn't rule out Brandon Clark somewhere down the road.
I mean, the way he played last night, 27 points, tied his career high.
Does he live at the rim?
He does, and I don't know what Portland's problem was, how they couldn't get
anybody. Never put a body on it.
They could never get anybody down low, and all Brandon was doing was just cutting to the basket and catching the lobs.
Stick backs and garbage buckets and
I think 7 of Morant's 9 assists were alley-oops to Brandon Clark.
Boy, it is an alley-ooping team. I don't think it has one thing to do with the contract, but since the contract news, Dylan Brooks has struggled a little. He just has.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got one thing.
It does nothing to do with it.
I think the biggest thing it has to do with for a lot of them is the All-Star wall, and they have gotten to it except for 4 teams, 2 games tonight. Everybody's on break, either headed to Chicago for those festivities or headed to a cabana in Cabo, St. Lucas to try to be warm for a little bit. All-Star weekend in Chicago, first time in a long time for those festivities, first time in United Airlines Center. The last time it was there, it was at Chicago Stadium. We come back, we round out hour number 1. You're listening to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, AM 560, 87.7 and 96.1 FM.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Hey guys, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Treat your special someone to a fantastic dinner at the Butcher Shop Steakhouse. In addition to the full menu, the Butcher Shop is offering their famous Dinner for Two special all weekend long, February 14th, 15th, and 16th. Start the evening with a glass of house wine, champagne, or beer. Share an appetizer of spinach and artichoke dip or Cajun sautéed shrimp. Choose from 6 delicious entrees, 7-ounce filet mignon, 14-ounce New York strip, 14-ounce ribeye, fresh Atlantic salmon, char-grilled chicken breast, or grilled lobster tail. Each entree includes a fresh garden or Caesar salad, baked potato, and hot bread. Each guest enjoys a homemade dessert, New York cheesecake, or chocolate thunder brownie. Your choice of soda, tea, or coffee completes the meal. All for $99.50 plus tax and gratuity per couple. For reservations, call the Butcher Shop at 901-757-4244. Or for more information, visit thebutchershop.com.
Mid-South Power Distributors is your source for all things diesel. Their newly renovated drive-in repair shop is open to the public. Whether it'll be your everyday driver, farm equipment, fleet vehicle, or heavy-duty truck, their ASE-certified technicians will get you back on the road. The on-site dyno is ready to run all the necessary diagnostic testing. From preventative maintenance to complete overhauls, Mid-South Power can handle it all. Stop in today at 3288 Mill Branch Road or call 901-396-0710 and online at mid-southpower.com.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. It's been a particularly rainy season, and that stain on your ceiling isn't getting any smaller, exposing your family to the possibility of mold. Let me come take a look. 867-0303. Our technicians are Owens Corning Platinum Preferred, so don't let someone tell you that it has to be replaced if all you need is a repair to get several more years of life. 867-0303. Have me on your speed dial for when life's little catastrophes come up. 867-0303. Upgrade your roof to a beautiful Owens Corning Duration Architectural Shingle with a 50-year warranty and an unheard of 25-year labor guarantee. I'll measure your roof from outer space and give you a competitive estimate right over the phone. Buy now and pay nothing till 2022 with approved credit. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Thank you so much to Lexus of Memphis. Brings you this hour every day, and also to First Bank. First Bank text line 67129. First Bank phone line 360-8255. And First Bank, they know what you need. You need a reliable, trustworthy Memphis banker that can give you an answer, that make the decisions about you for you right here in Memphis, not in Nashville, not in Knoxville, not in Birmingham, sure not in Birmingham, but right here in Memphis. A direct answer from the First Bank banker you're dealing with. First Bank, with stories and a record of customers reaching high. Community Bank's the preferred lender of people building a success story. Build your success story with First Bank. You can follow them. You can go to the First Bank by going to firstbankonline.com, all with deep Memphis roots and business and banking experience. Experienced Memphis bankers that you know and that you can trust and you see around town. All the great locations. Go to firstbankonline.com for more information. 67129 at the text line, 360-8255 at the phone line. You can watch us live and message us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube. 8 games remain for the Tigers. In the preseason, boy, that seemed like a long time ago, doesn't it? A lot has happened. It can. A little bit of the Murphy's Law, as we've talked about some during the course of the year. You just never know the next pitfall. You never know the next thing that derails your season, and a lot has happened to the Tigers. I hate it for one of the biggest reasons is for Coach Penny Hardaway. All this controversy and the injuries, everything that's happened, I hope it doesn't, and we look back in 6 or 8 years and it's really stunted his growth as a head coach, because a lot was built around James Wiseman. Well, that was taken out after 3 games. So way back in the preseason, I'm at 4 losses for the whole darn year. 4 losses all year, 27-4. Well, of course, if we changed that, I would have added 2 more losses, but not that many more. Maybe only 1 or 2 if we'd have gone through all those W's and L's when he left the team. Now, just 8 games remaining. Drew, I have at least 4, maybe 5 losses the rest of the way, and I only had 4 in the preseason. I hope I remain wrong.
I hope you do, too. I had 3 in the preseason, and 2 of the 3 were coming in this last 8-game stretch. I originally had a loss tonight. I had 3 in the stretch. A loss tonight, and then a loss in the regular season at Houston, and, obviously W's all the way in there.
With James Wiseman,
Wiseman,
I had this being an 0-2 road trip at Cincy and UConn. So how do you think?
I had him beating UConn.
So how do you think I feel now?
Same.
Exactly. I mean, okay, no James Wiseman. Going to be a 2-0 road trip. I had the loss at Houston. Now, I was looking for losses, too.
Yeah,
I was
too.
looking for roadies, and that's 3 of this last 8. So if I was 5-3 with James Wiseman, I'm about 3-5, 4-4 the rest of the way. And Dave didn't even think that it was a guarantee at Tulane. I do.
It's not, but it's easier than the others.
It is. Where are you on this 8?
I'll be a little bit more optimistic. I'll go 5-3. I think I'll keep the 2 L's that I had in the preseason tonight against Cincy. I hope I'm wrong there. And tonight and at the end of the season in Houston, I'll add an L to at SMU, and I think they beat UConn on the road, ECU, and then beat Houston at home to kind of help push past the bubble talk and get a more of a bid, an at-large bid.
If you're right and it's 5-3, and let's even go one more, it's 6-2 to end 20. 6-2 would end 23-8. Still some work to do at Fort Worth.
Yeah, you can't
get to the finals.
I don't think you have to get to the finals. You can't lose in the first round.
No, you can't be that forgotten team.
No, you got to at least win one game. I think you can lose in the second round. I don't think you have to make it to the semis, but it's got to be a close loss and to somebody who's probably already in the tournament or just riding a hot streak.
If you were granted all access and after the fact you could report and talk about what you witnessed, would you rather be in the room conference championship weekend in football, boiling it down for the CFP, or would you rather be in Indianapolis, say get there that Friday at noon into Saturday and the full reveal on Sunday to see how it all played out?
I think I'd choose basketball because
no doubt I would.
Yeah, because there's
all the moving parts.
Yeah, there's got a lot more chaos going on.
What do we eliminate in football?
4. I think you walk in with 8 probably. 8 at the most. You walk in with 8 realistic options for the Final 4,
but
pretty much everybody's on the same page. But basketball, you're walking in with a list of 100 teams.
It may not be this crass, this brusque as I'm getting ready to describe it, but for anybody, whatever team that's kind of out there floating around at or near the bubble, and they lose the noon game on Friday Central Time and they're bounced at 2:30. I mean, I could just see somebody in Indianapolis walking in and go, well, that's the end of them. No more. And that's why you don't want to lose that. You want to at least stay in the conversation piece into Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. And if you're in it on Sunday morning, even in a loss scenario, you're way ahead of losing early and anything on Thursday night. I've said one of the worst things to watch out at sports is the team that buys into that last game on Friday, and you lose that. Well, it's so late, and you lost. It's like you didn't even really go to the tournament.
No, you weren't even there.
You blink and you miss them, and your fans. It's hard for them to get there for that last game on Friday. They're kind of waiting, and we'll drive up or over or wherever to on Saturday, and then you wake up or you go to bed on Friday night and they've lost. You scuttle all the plans. It's like you weren't even in it. And when that last loss hits in college basketball, that's when the tears flow, and because you know it's over, and for a lot of them it is really over. This hour's over. We start hour 2 though. We do it with Elliott Perry. Go inside Hoop City. Brought to you by Campbell Clinic. Look forward to talking Grizzlies with Elliott and Tigers. You're listening to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats, produced by Drew Barrett on Real Sports Talk, AM 560, 87.7, and 96.1.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse,
You've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Everyone agrees that February is the most romantic month. Not just because of Valentine's Day, but because it's so cold, this is the month when we really have to share that body heat. And if you want romance, you simply can't beat 117 Prime, Memphis's premier downtown dining destination. Take your significant other out for the dinner of their life at 117 Prime, and romance will definitely be in the air. A great wine list, a huge selection of bourbons, perfect steaks, and of course, the best oyster bar in downtown Memphis. Take the one you love to 117 Prime, and you'll definitely be sharing body heat later.
Attention, everyone. Dell's President's Day sale is officially on. Save up to $400 on monumental tech deals. Shop early savings now with amazing deals on Dell and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors. And don't miss our limited quantity doorbusters on the 17th. That's huge savings on everything from Dell computers to Samsung TVs. Plus, free shipping on everything. Visit Dell.com/President's Day or call 800-BUY-DELL. That's 800-BUY-DELL.
Yeah, so Aiden's coffee spot is really undope. They asked what they can get me, and I'm like, the code to the bathroom. Stop trying to sell me something.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Also, the Wi-Fi password was too hard to spell, and I can, totally spell stuff.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
They didn't have any cups out for the free cream, so I just drank it out of the pitcher.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main downtown has all your game day needs with 30 TVs. If your game is not on one of the 20 big screens, then sit in a booth with your own remote. The Vault has game day specials on pitchers, buckets of beer, and great food, which is the best thing about the Vault. This is not your normal sports bar. Chef Dirk Meitzler from On Tour and Cafe 621 has all his favorites like Chicken Newport and his new lobster enchilada. Open for lunch and dinner every day with lunch specials for $12 weekdays with a drink. The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main, your downtown place to eat, drink, and watch the game.
Join the Midday Show this Friday from 10 to 1 at Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch on Goodman Road. This is Frontier's biggest sale of the year, and it's time to save big on boots and apparel. All men's jeans are now on sale. Harriet Denim $10 off. Wrangler and Carhartt pants $5 off. Select styles marked down even more, up to half price. We'll have burrito boxes from Moe's Southwest Grill for lunch, so come hungry. Join us this Friday from 10 to 1 at Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time to go inside Hoop City with Grizzlies radio analyst Elliot Perry. Inside Hoop City is sponsored by Campbell Clinic. Each Thursday, the former Tiger great and 10-year NBA player joins Sportstime with Wolo and Stats to talk Tigers and Grizzlies and all things Hoop City. Now, here's Elliot Perry with Wolo and Stats.
Trying to catch up with Elliot Perry to go inside Hoop City and talk all things Grizzlies and Tigers. The Grizzlies now with the All-Star break don't play again until next Thursday, the start of a 4-game road swing out west against Sacramento, Lakers, and Clippers, and then end it in Houston before coming home for a back-to-back on the night of the first one on the night of the 28th, a week from Friday night against Sacramento. 2 weeks from Friday night against Sacramento. And then LeBron James and the Lakers come in on Leap Day. Lakers were here on November 23rd, only a 1-point winner that night. The Grizzlies dropped to 5-10 that night. Who would have thought it from that point on to get to 28-26 and to do it last night with the 111-104 win over Portland to get to 28-26. And Ja Morant just oohing and aahing and thrilling the crowd last night. Big-time, preeminent superstar right here. We're watching it before our eyes in Memphis, and what a night it was last year on lottery night. Elliot Perry there at draft night for the Grizzlies to get that good luck, and got it the year before with Jaren Jackson, and sure needed it after years of heartbreak on that night and many others with player acquisition and draft picks. But to finally get that break and get Ja Morant, and now him leading this team for a long, long, long time. I'm going to make the call. After Ja Morant, nobody wears number 12 ever again for the Memphis Grizzlies. Someday.
That's a little early.
Someday, though. I mean, he's got a lot of career left, but you want a collector's item, get your Yuta Watanabe number 12 out. Because, he had to acquiesce and cede the jersey number over to Ja, but it's got the makings of someday having that long career, and I sure hope that's the case, that he's the last one to wear 12, because it is electric in the building. You think in the grit and grind days, a lot of fun, a lot of wins, but never the high wire act, never the thrilling. It was fun. Any old way to win's fun, but this is real fun to see how Ja Morant and this team's doing, and what a before the break job performance for Taylor Jenkins and his staff. We didn't know a lot about him. I don't know if he was a down ballot hire, but it took a while. They were really judicious in their hiring, and it is shown to be very, very smart by this front office to do that. They kicked a lot of tires and came up with him from the Budenholzer coaching tree, and fresh from that success there. And he's had just a great start. I would say right now, today, he's got to be in Coach of the Year conversation. This Grizzlies front office, for whatever awards, the General Manager of the Year, Executive of the Year, those type of awards, they've got to be in that conversation as well. It's going to be tough down the break. There aren't a lot of home games, and the ones at home are of a tougher variety. You do have a home game against the Knicks in there, and you have Atlanta, and you got Orlando, you got Sacramento, but with a young team, you could always revert back to maybe some young team type behavior and lose those kind of games. But since the start of 2020, this new calendar year, this team has been something to watch play. Last night was the 8th game I've been to in person this year. I got a 7-1 record going to games this year. Wish I'd have started going earlier.
Yeah, you should have been there opening night every game since.
I was busy during that stretch in October and November, but now the rest of the way, when the Grizzlies are home, I want to be there. If nothing else, to see Ja. I think it is that type of box office appeal, and Jaren as well, and others as well. This team has earned it. And last night, lower bowl, I thought pretty stoked, pretty full. And
say 98% full down low.
Now, I did, as I said, I didn't go to the Lakers game earlier in the year. That was on Saturday, November 23rd. You did. It was packed, though, wasn't it?
Oh, it was super packed.
Real packed. And we know
good
why
sellout,
it was packed.
yeah.
It was mostly packed for the Lakers.
They're the Lakers.
And for LeBron and Anthony Davis. But the rest of the way, it should be packed for Ja Morant, for Jaren Jackson, for Dylan Brooks, for Brandon Clark, for this team, for Taylor Jenkins and the job that he's done to get to 28, 20, and 26. The unexpected nature of it. Again, everybody for their own motivation. Nobody expected this of us. Even the Yankees and the Red Sox and Alabama and Tiger Woods say that. And I think they need it for their own motivation. But quite literally, nobody said it. Pick the Grizzlies in a playoff spot. Can anybody around town that can claim, I was the one saying 8th.
There'll probably be people claiming, especially a lot of the
I don't believe them.
Internet people will probably claim that they said it, but I don't believe it whatsoever. You couldn't have paid me to make a bet on the Grizzlies to make the 8th spot. You could not have told me,
none.
Here's Drew, here's $100. You place the bet, and whatever that wins, you can keep it. I would have asked for $20 more just for the gas to get down to Tunica, because there's no way I would have believed it would have happened.
No, and it's quite the contrast in the preseason expectations and the best laid plans. We know what can happen with that. As you said, and many people, they were looking out to Atlanta, to Final Four, and going on the road with the Tigers, and for sure looking at that St. Louis pod. That just seemed like a guarantee, didn't it? I thought that. I'm not casting aspersions. I'm speaking totally first person here. I thought the St. Louis pod was one of the safer bets out there, and now you take anything. You'll take Dayton on Tuesday night.
Oh yeah, definitely take Dayton on Tuesday night. And in the preseason, I wasn't ho-hum about its Final Four or bust. I said consistently throughout the preseason leading up to the Tiger season, get to the Sweet 16, hang a banner that means something with a number that means something, and you're playing with house money. Now, that's not the floor. That might be the ceiling. And that's even if you get into the tournament. And then if you don't, then let's at least make it to New York in the NIT.
With the hand that got dealt, just getting in the tournament now is a pretty good win.
That's a win, yeah.
It's a pretty good win, and you hang NCAA tournament, and you're proud of it. One thing that was accomplished with the UConn win, it guaranteed yet another winning season, and that goes back how far now?
Have not had a losing season, I believe, since Tick Price in the late 90s. So over 21 years now.
So it would go. So in the 21st century, not a losing season.
Not a losing season. Not even close to a losing season in the 21st century.
And I think that last losing season might even go back to 99, 2000 to the Johnny Jones interim year.
It could have been. It might have been
it
Johnny
is.
Jones.
I'm looking at it now, 15 and 16, and that was after Johnny had to take over, and John Calipari was hired at the Conference USA tournament down in the media room at the Pyramid after the loss. I'm looking at it. I didn't remember this being the team they lost to DePaul, and he was hired that Saturday afternoon and hadn't been a losing season since then. That is worth something for sure, but again, the preseason expectations were so lofty. When you say Final Four or bust, the bust part of that to me means Final Four, you're really mad you didn't go. I never had that. I did say Final Four, but it wasn't. I'm going to be angry over it. I
think a lot of people were, though. I mean, that was kind of the talk around town was Final Four or bust.
08 would have been angry not to go to the Final Four. 07 was pretty irritated.
07 was really irritated, especially, coming off the
Elite style of the loss.
Elite Eight game the year before against UCLA. 08 would have been rioting in the street if you didn't make the Final Four.
I'm sorry, I mixed my years up. The 06, getting beat by UCLA in Oakland, people were pretty perturbed over the style of that loss. 07 getting bounced by Ohio State, they were just that good.
They were really good.
And we thought Odin was the better player of the two Ohio State stars, better than Mike Conley.
Yeah, we did. And ultimately, he probably could have been, if injury didn't hit him as hard as it did. But Ohio State was that great of a team that year. You didn't really feel that bad about losing to them. But like you said, in 06, the way that they played, the low-scoring game, just nobody seemed to want to make a shot in that game was pretty irritating. But this year,
they couldn't make one either.
They couldn't.
And then there were a couple of Tigers that wouldn't try to make one that day. That I think a little bit, the lights got a little too bright for them.
Yeah, definitely.
One of your favorite players.
Rodney Carney, who did actually make the last shot.
I didn't name any names.
He did make the last shot. He attempted about 3 feet behind the three-point line from top of the key in that game with like 5 seconds left to go, Bo. So
to narrow the margin?
To narrow the margin.
Yeah, that weekend, that was a Saturday afternoon game, and I was covering the NCAA tournament in the D.C. regional. That ended up being George Mason coming out of there to beat UConn in that Sunday game against Rudy Gay and that great UConn team that was our bust. And Jim Calhoun lit them up all weekend. I mean, he was rough on them in the Friday night Sweet 16 game, I think, against Brandon Roy in Washington. Oh, I think that was the team they were playing. I was sitting right behind their bench, and they talk about you can't talk to the players rough anymore now. Well, you could then. And that what was that, 14 years ago? Because he talked rough to them. I mean, I learned new words that night. He was on top of them. And even in one of the timeouts, he said, I don't know, and I'm going to give the G-rated version of this, the FCC version. He said, I don't know how many of y'all are going pro, but I would suggest anybody that's on the fence for going pro, you need to turn pro, because if we lose tonight, when we start these individual workouts in about a week and a half, I'm going to try to kill you. And I cleaned that up massively from what he said. And you could hear, I mean, he was into Rudy Gay too. They pulled that game out and then ultimately lost on Sunday to George Mason and quite the upset. I'm very sorry we're having trouble catching up with Elliot Perry. We usually bat 1,000. Elliott, I'm very sorry to our listeners, but we'll try to catch up with him today or maybe even tomorrow or sometime during the All-Star break for sure by next Thursday afternoon to talk Grizzlies and Tigers. But this Grizzlies team, so now it sure wouldn't be bust. Now, would it be the ultimate cruel irony of this Hoop City basketball season if somehow they faltered and didn't make it in that 8th spot? Came out back from the break with that road trip, all these road games, and didn't make the 8th seed. That would be too cruel for this year in Hoop City, wouldn't it?
I don't know if it'd be too cruel just because of the expectations going into the season.
But we've changed them.
Have we, though? I mean, has it fully been changed to where it's now 100% playoff train? We got playoff fever.
Yeah,
I mean,
but not mad at them. Not mad at them, just disappointed.
Disappointed,
and
obviously.
The cruel irony, as I said, of we weren't expecting it. Then we get our expectations up, and you pull the floor out from under us, and you don't even make the 8. I think they can make the 8 now with around 37 or 38 wins.
Yeah, I think
39
that's
or
a good
40
number right
for
there.
sure.
Yeah, but I think if they don't make the playoffs, you could still chalk it up to youngest team in the league. Ran out of steam. 82 games is a lot more than they ever played in college or high school or AAU ball in that span. So you can kind of chalk it up to inexperience and young talent, but you'd still be disappointed, obviously, about the outcome. But I'm with you. I think 37 right now. So we're only looking at 9 more wins over the next month and a half, 2 months of basketball. And the way the Grizzlies are playing right now, just how phenomenally they're going at it, that's very easily containable. And I think you can do that just at home. I mean, the 11 home games left to go, 9 of them are realistically winnable games. You get a couple more on the road. We're looking at, if they continue the way they played in 2020, you're looking at 40. And that's way more than anybody would have expected.
Magic number after last night, is it 24? 20. So any combination of Grizzlies wins or the team behind them, that's Portland, that equals 24, they will make the playoffs. So the easy part of that is, okay, well, win 12 and that other team lose 12. Win 12, that's at 40. That's 40 and 42. And the team behind you lose 12, you're in. And then when it gets around to playoff time, 0 expectations against the 1 seed Lakers. I mean, it'd be out of this world. One of the upsets of 2020 to win one of those first 2 games out there on that first weekend of playoff games. And that first one will probably be the primetime Sunday night game, with LeBron. It won't be because of Ja and the Grizzlies. It'll be because of LeBron. And then, game 2 either on Tuesday or Wednesday night. And then game 3 in Memphis that next weekend, either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, with game 4 being 2 or 3 days after whatever time that the game 3 is established. Win 1 at home would be fantastic. Win 1 out there, be approaching arguably biggest win in franchise history, something like that. That San Antonio game 1 in
that's a little bit of a reach, but I understand where you're going with it. Just the magnitude and unlikelihood of that actually happening. I mean, you steal 1 on the road. If you had any available tickets, they're gone like that. There's no way this game's not 100% sold out, and they don't try to figure out how to get standing room only somewhere.
And to quote Tony Allen, and I still don't know exactly what it means, the building will be cracking. I mean, if they came back from out there 1-1, game 3 downtown in Memphis, downtown would be some scene. And again, we know it'll be one of those late night 8:30 games because they're going to put the Lakers in the primo spot.
Yeah, they will. And like you said, the expectation, if they do make it into the playoffs and get that 8 seed, even if you get swept, I mean, you're still happy about the way the season ended. I mean, you make it to the playoffs. How's money on to the next year, more experience. See how well Justice Winslow finishes out the season, because Kleiman says Kleiman did come out publicly and said that he believes that Winslow will play in this season. So see how well he does down the stretch. Build off of that. Hey, next year he'll be 100% as long as he can stay healthy. Ja's just going to get another year better. Jaren's going to get another year better. I mean, we could go. You make the playoffs at the 8, win at one game. We could be talking. This is a 5 or 6 seed Grizzlies team next year.
Sure could, and then their expectations may be a little too lofty heading into next year. But that's how things change, and it's the expectation after you've had this surprise year, and we've certainly had that with the Grizzlies in the building last night to see the fans, to see the crowd, and how I think they're now starting to respond. Out of the break, the 4-game road trip, just go 1-3 on it now. Well, you would still be 500 coming home for that Sacramento and Laker back-to-back game doubleheader on Friday and Saturday, the 28th and 29th, and still just hang around that 500 mark for the Grizzlies down the stretch, and just try to chop a game off every now and then when you can. And you're going to have those teams that are chasing you. They're going to be playing each other. You're going to enter into a lot of nights where somebody's going to eliminate their elimination number, as the Grizzlies will have established a magic number. I said earlier, just something good for my soul when I have brackets in front of me, and I have the AAC and the SEC bracket in front of me. The first day of AAC tournament play at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, it'll start at noon with the 8 versus 9 game. The Tigers aren't, no matter what, I don't think they're going to be in that game.
No.
And then I don't know why, but they list 2 hours later at 2 o'clock.
Sure, because that's going to happen.
The 5-12 game.
Because the tournaments always run on time.
It never happens. But I say that in last Saturday in Oxford for Ole Miss in Florida, from opening tip to the clock hitting all zeros, 1 hour and 50 minutes. But you're not going to. But you're going to have more commercials around.
Yeah, you'll have more of that. And while you had that, I think the Tiger game on Saturday was extremely long. Actually, I think it was about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, it dragged on.
So when you do get the 150, you'll get the 220 or the overtime, double overtime affair following right after it to mess everything back up.
Yeah, so the second game of the AAC tournament would be the 5 versus 12. The Tigers could be in the 5 spot. They're not in the 12 spot. They could be in the 5 spot, so that would be a 220-ish game unless we have a miracle occur in the first one. Then you reset at 7 o'clock for the night session in Fort Worth at Dickies Arena. That is the 7-10 game. The Tigers aren't going – I don't think they fall that – they could fall that far even if they went 3-5 down the stretch. Would they? Could they get to the 7? They won't get to 10.
They could get to the 7. I mean, right now sitting at the 5, only 1 game up on Wichita State, only 2 games up on Temple. You go 3-5, yeah, you could get down to the 7.
Well, that'd be against a pretty feisty team in the 10 spot too, and that could be the potential of one and done at the AAC. And we know what these airwaves would sound like the next day. And then the last game on the first day of the AAC tournament would be the 6 versus 11, and it looks pretty prime for 6. And we also know, with all that scheduling, we know the game that won't be the 150 game or the 2-hour game, and it'll be the one before that. There's your overtime with tip for whomever that plays in the 6-11 about 9:35 Central Time on Thursday night. That is late night.
Going to have record number of fouls. Going to have about 40 fouls between both teams.
And, last Saturday in the Tigers South Florida game, and it definitely disturbed the flow of the game, but everybody agreed that they were fouls. 23 fouls for USF, 23 fouls for the Tigers, and some of the Tigers fouls to even get to an even number of them. That was late trying to send them to the line. So really, they were in critical time. It was more fouls on South Florida. But if it is a foul, they must call it, because I hear announcers and I hear talk show, I hear us all talk about, well, you can't call every foul. Don't call every foul. And then when somebody's fouled and it doesn't get called, why aren't you calling the foul? And the leader of that is Jay Billis. I mean, if they're not calling the fouls, why aren't they calling more fouls? If they are, why so many whistles? Let the youngsters play. Let them play. He is the leader of that. Have you noticed that?
I have noticed that, and that's what drives me crazy. Either be on team, if it's a foul, call the foul, or be on the team, hey, let them play. If it's just atrocious, then if the guy gets mauled, obviously call that.
Of course.
But do you want him to play, or do you want the refs to do the job and get it right? Just pick a side.
And there's never been a compact of, and you hear in the crowd among fans, and it's just fan passion of call it both ways. Well, no, if one's not doing it, there's no need. It would be inherently unfair to be calling on the one not doing it.
Yeah, and that's one reason why I'd hate to be a ref. I mean, have you ever left a game and the atmosphere around the building goes, that was a well-officiated game? Have you ever heard that of a fan base in total leave the game and go, good job by the referees? Well officiated.
Almost never by the fans of the defeated team.
Well, never, yeah, for that
Sometimes that bouquet is thrown when you won. Well, I really didn't notice the refs today, or good job by the refs. And it's the toughest job in sports, now made tougher by the myopic, incessant replays that we can watch it a million times and convince ourselves of anything. We watch it so many times.
Yeah, you stare at something long enough, you can see something that you previously didn't see or unsee something you thought you saw. And that's I don't like replay in a lot of sports because last night, Grizzlies game is a good example of it. At 18 seconds left to go, Grizzlies have firmly won the game, and they waste 10 minutes reviewing to see if it was one technical or two technicals. And just kick Whiteside out the building and let's call it.
Yeah, and I don't think he wanted near much of Valanciunas as he thought he did.
No, he didn't.
They were going at it pretty good all night. Now, Whiteside had a good box score game. He had the better box score game than Jonas Valanciunas, but I think more impactful for the team concept was what Jonas Valanciunas had, and they had gone at it once, and then I don't think he was threatening to throw the ball. I thought it was frustration.
I think it was frustration, too.
Whiteside bows up.
He bows up on him.
He was ready to come at him.
But does it really take 5-10 minutes to figure out if both of them deserve a technical?
It took a long time. And I don't leave until the clock strikes zero.
I don't either.
And it was taking a while for the clock to strike zero last night. You enjoyed the Carmelo Anthony struggles, didn't you?
Oh, I loved it. Premier Melo game for me to go to. I think he finished 1 of 17. Loved it.
Cornbread Maxwell was right again. Father Time has gotten another one. It is over for him.
Like I told you before the show, it was kind of hard to watch, especially Melo trying to back down some people to get to the basket, just could not move anybody. It was bad, but nothing will ever be as bad as the last time I saw Yao Ming at FedEx Forum
with no knees.
With no knees, just basically stumbling, crawling to get up and down the court, and just you felt really bad for him. I felt a little bad for Melo last night, but it was more funny to me.
I think in basketball, the aging, when it hits empty, big men, because of their size, that pressure on their knees, that pressure on their feet, I mean, it really, really affects them, and it looks bad. They are lumbering around, and they're an anomaly just by nature to society. Most people aren't 7'2" in society, and very few can do what they can do and how they do it. And when it's over for them, it is sad to see. It's over for us for this segment. We come back, we visit with Alan Bell from CBS Sportsline to talk XFL, some Vegas point spreads, and a little bit of the baseball controversy from the Houston Astros. You're listening to Sports Time on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
It's not too early to start planning for spring at Family Leisure. New pools are starting at $19.99, spas starting at $21.99, and swim spas now only $99.99. 5-piece patio furniture starts at only $799. Pool chemicals, toys, accessories, and more up to 20% off. Mention this ad, you'll get free delivery and 1 month of chemicals with your spa purchase. Start your spring planning now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. It's been a particularly rainy season, and that stain on your ceiling isn't getting any smaller, exposing your family to the possibility of mold. Let me come take a look. 867-0303. Our technicians are Owens Corning Platinum Preferred, so don't let someone tell you that it has to be replaced if all you need is a repair to get several more years of life. 867-0303. Have me on your speed dial for when life's little catastrophes come up. 867-0303. Upgrade your roof to a beautiful Owens Corning Duration architectural shingle with a 50-year warranty and an unheard of 25-year labor guarantee. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a competitive estimate right over the phone. Buy now and pay nothing till 2022 with approved credit. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Is imitation the sincerest form of flattery? Not.
When it comes to your car audio.
Stereo One is the leader in car audio, remote start, security, and more for the past 30 years. Stereo One is proud to announce the grand opening of their new location, 1983 Covington Pike, across from the Honda dealership. To celebrate their new location, Stereo One has marked down their entire inventory. Remote start systems at $129.
With free installation.
Subwoofer base packages start at just $199. Window tint starting at $129. The entire inventory of radios and touchscreens with features like Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, and backup cameras are marked to go. Check out Stereo One before you buy online. Their knowledge, friendly sales staff, and pro installation team will take care of you. Visit the Stereo One new location today, 1983 Covington Pike across from Honda, or visit their mega store at Mendenhall and Winchester. Make sure you go to the originators and not the imitators.
Stereo One is still the one for your auto accessories.
Imagine for a moment the perfect food, just what you're craving, made hot, fresh, and fast. And you're imagining Sunrise on Jefferson. Whether you're going to settle in for a nice leisurely breakfast or lunch, or you're going to swing by for the best takeout in Memphis, the ideal meal is always waiting for you at Sunrise. Maybe you're craving a perfect breakfast. That's at Sunrise. Or a delicious burger. That's at Sunrise, too. No matter what it is you're craving, I guarantee it's on the menu at Sunrise, just waiting for you to order it.
The Can-Am Spring Fever event is here and ready to take you on the ultimate off-road ride and get you some serious savings. Can-Am is built for ripping through trails, crawling through mud, cruising over dunes, getting the job done. Get it done for less. Farmers and ranchers can save up to $1,500 on select 2020 Defender models, or even on select 2019 models, save up to $2,500 during the Spring Fever event. Get yourself a new Can-Am off-road vehicle at a great price. Visit us today, Olive Branch Motorsports, 5656 Goodman Road, or online at obmotorcycleatv.com.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
We know we made it past a crucial point this week for the XFL in comparison to 1 year ago with the AAF. Because after a pretty blockbuster weekend, good TV ratings, a lot of buzz, decent, that's being charitable, decent play by the AAF, we got the knockout punch into that next week of can't make payroll. And that's just the magic words in anything when you can't make payroll. Well, guess what? Everything's over.
Yeah, you don't have a league when you can't pay for it.
Because just nobody wants to work for free. So we've gotten past that point this week with the XFL, and we're going to be past it. The stock sold by Vince McMahon to fund the XFL, I mean, it's a huge number to talk about that, to talk about other things Vegas related and the NFL schedule, and maybe even some Major League Baseball. We do it with our buddy Alan Bell. You can follow him on Twitter at Alan Bell. That's 2 L's, ALLANBELL 24/7. He's with CBS Sportsline, and he joins us now. And Alan, good weekend all in all for the XFL, wasn't it, last weekend?
Yeah, it was great, man. First, I appreciate y'all having me back. I think if you're, Oliver Luck and, you're running this league, you'd have to be pretty happy. I mean, everything kind of, went off without a hitch. And, really the big thing, with not only a, football league, but a business or whatever you're doing, kind of the first weekend, you don't know, what you don't know, but you just hope that, you just kind of don't mess anything up, you know what I mean? And they had, just a product that really went off without a hit. So I think they got to be proud about it.
Now, I didn't watch a single play, and I'm not, it's no aversion to it. It's no boycott. I just couldn't last weekend. I'm not that excited about it. I love my football, but I really like my football kind of starting late August and ending that first weekend in February. But I'm gonna check in. How good was the football?
It was okay. It wasn't great. Wasn't terrible by any means. I mean, the product looked fine, right? Like you had teams that were scoring points, on the first Saturday. Both teams, the totals got to, around 50, 53. Sunday was a little bit less, generally in the the high 30 numbers. So you had teams scoring points. I think the biggest part about it, and this might be something that the NFL can take away, is that they were smart that the rules are simple. And what I mean by that is you don't have the pace of play stopped 3, 4, 5 times for little holding calls here and there. They just kind of let them go. And it was nice. It was nice to watch, an offense get to, have a 6, 7, 8, 9 play drive, without being stopped 3 different times and a commercial break thrown in, right? So I think that they kind of figured that part out. So yeah, it wasn't bad by any means. We'll see what they do, with the big jump from week 1 to week 2.
We were just talking about it before the break and all the replays, and last night at the Grizzlies Trailblazers game with just seconds remaining, a long drawn out sorting out on double technicals on almost an altercation type play that largely was unnecessary. Just send everybody home and let's go. The margin of the team that was going to win had been decided. And you're so right, Alan, about simplicity. And I think that's where the NFL, to a lot of people, the aggravation has grown of we don't know what a catch is. We don't know what a lot of things are. The timing issue and some of the verbiage. I think even in the NFL, Alan, and across other sports with the replay, maybe too much explanation. Just make the call.
Yeah, completely agree. I 1,000% agree with you on that. And that's really the biggest problem is that, we're trying to do too much, and you just don't have to do it. A catch, like if it looks like a catch to us that's sitting on the couch or at the game, then it's a catch, right? We don't have to have, a 20-minute discussion about it. And, little, holding calls that are on, the opposite side of the field that have nothing to do with the play. Like, we don't have to, punish it, an offense and bring it back 10 yards and stop 10 minutes, then have a commercial break to do it. Just keep it simple. And I think, the NFL, I think that's something they could really learn from the XFL with this, is that you don't have to do all that. Just get back to playing football and let the viewer just kind of, be in the moment and enjoy it. And doing less oftentimes can lead to more.
You mentioned Oliver Luck, and that wasn't that kind of the first sign from XFL Part 2, the second go-around, that when you're going to have as your face man for your league, it's going to be more Oliver Luck and less Jesse Ventura.
No, you're exactly right. And I'll tell you this. Here's a smart thing that really hasn't been discussed, in the media, this week after the first week of the XFL. You didn't see Vince McMahon. You didn't hear from Vince McMahon. He wasn't out there. He wasn't on the field before the game. He wasn't in a suite, where the camera's panning to him 2, 3, 4, 5 times. You didn't see him. And that's smart. I think football, fans, they want to see somebody like Oliver Luck, somebody that they trust, a guy that was on, the college football playoff committee, right? Like, it's about football. And I think the McMahons, understand that and give them credit. It looks like that they've learned a lot, from the first XFL to now. And I'm not saying that, Vince, can't be a part of it or can't, be there. But I thought it was a smart play for the first weekend to just keep him out of it. And let's just watch some football. And it was a smart play by him.
Alan, did you very nicely just say a little more football and a little less wrestling?
A little bit, yeah. If we're going to throw it on the field, yeah, let's have a little more football.
Yeah, and that worked. Alan Bell with us from from CBS Sportsline and 24/7 today. A textbook case of how not to do a press availability, especially one that you're going to clear the air, really come clean with everybody, be candid, be frank, less or more rather than less, and it was a debacle for the Houston Astros.
A disaster, just complete disaster. And this entire thing has been a disaster. And I'll say this, what we saw today, obviously, the blame and the fault goes on the Houston Astros. But you know what? What we saw today was probably even more blame to Major League Baseball as a whole. They're a weak, out-leveraged league, in terms of their front office.
Really
and
is.
And kind of an analogy is this, is what we saw was, a parent, if you have a child, who's 5 and gets in a little scrap with your other child who's 3, and you want the 5-year-old to apologize, and you kind of explain why that's wrong. Well, MLB was a parent that just wanted the problem to go away. So the apology didn't mean anything. It was just, say this, all right, we're done, let's move on. That's exactly where MLB is. They're not getting to the root of the problem because none of the players got in trouble, and nobody there, Jim Crane, the owner, wasn't worried of any punishment. right? So it's just a disaster. And the worst part about it is this. The reason why I hate cheating is because it affects everyone in baseball. It affects guys that played in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. It's a stain on the game for everybody. And today, Major League Baseball should be embarrassed of themselves.
Sporting News wrote a story early in the week when Rob Manfred was talking about the expansion of the playoffs, and the tweet they sent out accompanying the story, it said, and this is from the Sporting News that once considered the Bible of baseball, and this tweet said, "It's hard to believe that Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred doesn't have at least some disdain for the sport he oversees." End of tweet. Alan, you could have an avowed enemy of the sport, someone that hated it, and not be taking it apart brick by brick any more so than Rob Manfred's doing.
Yep, I know. And, it's a shame because, we're talking about, the national pastime, America's pastime, baseball. We all grew up on it. It's a great game. It's a great product. But you see what's become of it, the last 5, 10, 15 years. It's unmarketable. Its stars are out there. Somebody like Mike Trout. For people who don't watch baseball, what he's done so far has just been incredible in terms of stats. And if he walked in your Target down the street, no one would know who he was. Not a single person. Not a single person. And you look at it, and that's the problem. The Major League Baseball is so short-sighted. If you look at, on Twitter during a Grizzlies game, you're going to see all kinds of John Morant highlights, highlights of LeBron out in Los Angeles. You know what you see out of baseball? Nothing. Because if you post a highlight, they get your Twitter account suspended, right? Like they're making every decision the worst possible way, and they just don't have to. And it's just a short-sighted league and a front office that, quite frankly, that's a great tweet from the Sporting News. Quite frankly, Major League Baseball, they don't know what they're doing, and they don't know how to fix it because they don't know what the problem is.
So true. And in the name of trying to be hip and cool, it only exacerbates it for the long-time fan, and they're very close. Not me, because nothing can run me off, because it is my favorite sport, and it will be, I think, until my last breath. I think, although it is entering my mind that college football is rapidly gaining on it. At one time, I said it was 1 and 1A, and then I went back to the delineation of 1 to 2. I'm very close to going back to 1 and 1A. That with this news from the NBA. Ratings, according to the Big Lead, ratings are down across the board. This year, 16% at ABC, 13% on the TNT package, 10% for the ESPN games. Why is it load management? Why the ratings decline for the NBA?
Yeah, I think it is. I think you've got load management. That's a part of it, but it's not the biggest thing. I think you're looking at games that aren't on broadcast channels. If you're not, the NFL does it right where all your games are on, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and ESPN, right? Those are channels that every single person, every household gets. With the NBA, you're going to have some Fox Sports South, TNT, and not that that's a bad thing by any means, but I think the larger kind of issue is that you're dealing with a society now where there's so much to do and there's so much media to consume on your phone, tablets, you name it, that when you have a league like the NBA, if you have, say 82 games, or Major League Baseball, 162 games, it's a lot of games. And a lot of, kind of casual fans, they don't tune in for, say, the first half. Watch ratings after the NBA All-Star break. They'll jump back up because the games, they tend to matter. And as the playoff run goes, ratings will jump up, and then the NBA playoffs, they'll hit record numbers. But that's where the NFL really gets it right, to where you only have 16 games. College football, you have 12 games, right? So every single game every week matters. Mm-hmm. It matters, yeah. And this is nothing against baseball or hockey or Major League Baseball. It's
always
or
there.
NBA, whatever. It's just tough. It's just hard to deal with, in the first half of the season.
Last weekend, a rating surprise to me for Sunday viewing only, the number one most watched thing, XFL beat college basketball and beat the NBA, but number one was the PGA Tour stop last weekend. That was without Tiger Woods. You tweeted earlier today, the Big Cat tees off at 141 Central, and he has teed off and through 11. He's 4 under T3. If he's up near the top of the leaderboard on Sunday, Daytona gets knocked off by him, XFL gets knocked off by golf, NBA, college basketball, Tiger Woods, ratings superstar.
Oh gosh, I mean that man is his own broadcast channel, right? Like he does numbers. But you know what? You bring up an excellent point. Like the fact that the PGA Tour last week without Tiger was doing big numbers. I mean that is huge for a sport that has battled, in terms of the ratings. But I'll tell you what, going back to what we were just talking about in terms of Major League Baseball, I have to give the PGA Tour credit. The last, probably 2, 3, 4 years, they've really kind of embraced what the NBA does, where they want, younger audiences to kind of, that haven't been around the sport to kind of get in with it. So you see, the PGA Tour kind of setting up with websites like Barstool Sports. And, not that I'm a huge Barstool guy, but their audience is skews, extremely young, 19 to 21-year-olds, right? And those, those are the audiences that will consume and consume and consume. So they've been open. They want media companies, to use their highlights when Tiger's, if he hits, a great shot, approach shot on, say hole, 14 today, they want people to tweet out the video, have fun with it, use it. And that's really where Major League Baseball's fallen so far, because you're just killing your audiences and you're killing your future audiences. So long story short, man, credit to the PGA Tour. They've done a great job.
And y'all do it at Sportsline, the real-time wagering aspect on the PGA Tour. They were ahead of a lot of people on that front.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the XFL, you see so many, people that will consume it, just for the gambling aspect of it. There's a lot of people, that aren't necessarily golf fans or basketball or football or whatever, but they like wagering on sports, and that's a huge, huge audience. So to embrace it, and you're right, the live betting aspect, it brings a lot more eyeballs.
And at Sportsline, y'all got Major League Baseball win totals. Y'all have done every game, and you've got the win totals up for every team. Tell me how the Cardinals would do according to the win totals from y'all's projections.
Yeah, we like the Cardinals. I'll say this. I won't give away the number. People go check it out. It's a great article. We've got every team, like you said. We've broken it down. But I'll say this, man. St. Louis Cardinals, they're going to be a good ball club. And watch out. I mean, not that you have to tell anybody the St. Louis Cardinals, compete for championships, because that's what they've done forever. But, keep a lookout. That's a young, fun Cardinals team.
Any chance the commissioner vacates the title for the Astros?
Nope, no chance, because they need the Astros. They absolutely need it. And that's why there was no punishment to players, because they need the rating. They need every single rating that you can get. So if you upset the Astros fan base, right, and you kind of rid yourself of one market, they can't afford it. So that's the problem, is that there's not an incentive to not cheat. If you're another team, why wouldn't you do it? Go get you 2 World Series, because clearly the league is not going to do anything about it.
And the Astros, they got that first championship in franchise history. It's come with a big price, but they made it work. I guarantee you Skybox sales went up the next year.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I mean, every single thing that went up. And watch, a byproduct of all this today, watch the Astros when it's opening day for them, whether, especially if they're on the road. You're going to see a lot of fans tune in just to hope, somebody, catches a little chin music at the plate, Altuve or somebody, right? So, Major League Baseball is going to cash in on it. But, again, on the short-sightedness, you're going to cut your legs off, to do it. It's just not good for the sport at all.
Alan, great as always to catch up with you, and really appreciate it. And we got to do it again soon. Thank you so much.
Hey, look forward to it, buddy. Take care, man.
You got it. Alan Bell from CBS Sportsline. Follow him on Twitter at AlanBell247. And I haven't seen any Vegas win totals for your Orioles yet. I hate to be this way, but I want them to lose the first 3 games in St. Louis. That's not their first 3 games. Season starts about a week before that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but I would like to see them win in St. Louis, especially Saturday or Sunday, or preferably both. You can have the Thursday game. I'll give you that one. No, but they are tied for the worst odds to win the World Series at plus 10,000.
Little surprised that with the upheaval because of the rules violations, the 3 jobs that opened, that Buck Showalter didn't get one of the 3.
I was a little shocked by it too, and ultimately I thought he deserved one.
I think I know why. Because now we have somebody in the analytics department basically filling out the lineup card. He's never agreeing to that.
No, he's never going to let somebody do his job for him.
If somebody walked in and said, "Hey, Skip, here's your lineup today," I think I know what he would tell him, and I think I agree with him.
And I think you can't say it on the FCC radio airways.
I'm certain I can't, but I'll tell it to you during the break. We take that break. Hour number 3 starts with Chris Raby from KMOX coming up after we wrap up this hour. You're listening to Sports Time on Real Sports Talk with Wolo and Stats on Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
It's not too early to start planning for spring at Family Leisure. New pools are starting at $19.99, spas starting at $21.99, and swim spas now only $99.99. 5-piece patio furniture starts at only $799. Pool chemicals, toys, accessories, and more up to 20% off. Mention this ad, you'll get free delivery and 1 month of chemicals with your spa purchase. Start your spring planning now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Pop Wigington has been in the restaurant business since the 70s and has now brought 3 generations of family favorites together under one roof at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's takes you back to a simpler time when food and life was more wholesome. Settle down today for lunch or dinner at Pop's with daily specials like country fried steak, fried catfish, chicken and dumplings, or Pop's famous fried chicken livers, all served up with your choice of 23 fresh vegetables like field peas and snaps, seasoned green beans, sweet corn and turnip greens. Hungry for a sandwich? Check out the Chuck, a hand-patted cheeseburger between 2 grilled cheese buns topped with lettuce, tomato, diced onion, pickles, fried egg, and bacon. Or a half-pound flat iron steak sandwich served on Texas toast. Don't forget one of Grandma's homemade desserts like chess pie or banana pudding. Take comfort today at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's Comfort Kitchen.
The construction reduction event is on at Wolf Chase Honda. Exciting changes are in the works and inventory must be reduced. Get the best deals right now on all remaining 2019 Hondas while they last. Every new car, every certified, every used car, price to go. Get pre-approved now at wolfchasehonda.com. Wolf Chase Honda is expanding and our prices are dropping. Don't miss these savings. Act now. This huge construction reduction event ends soon.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family-owned since 1981.
The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main downtown has all your game day needs with 30 TVs. If your game is not on one of the 20 big screens, then sit in a booth with your own remote. The Vault has game day specials on pitchers, buckets of beer, and great food, which is the best thing about the Vault. This is not your normal sports bar. Chef Dirk Meitzler from On Tour and Cafe 621 has all his favorites like Chicken Newport and his new lobster enchilada. Open for lunch and dinner every day with lunch specials for $12 weekdays with a drink. The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main, your downtown place to eat, drink, and watch the game.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Yeah, that's what Buck said, and I think you knew it. We go to spring training at 5 o'clock and visit with Chris Raby. I think the first time this calendar year won't be about the Cardinals. It'll be about the Major League Baseball full-blown scandal that they have. I don't think Manfred will or should strip the Astros, and the Astros aren't going to step up and self-police and vacate the title themselves.
They ain't giving the trophy back.
No, they're not. And I don't know where the pitcher's lawsuit's going that got lit up by him and cost him his career. I think eventually his career probably would have been cost without the sign stealing and him getting shelled without getting anybody out.
That's one less game check.
One less service time, too.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, that's one less. I mean, technically, it cost him money. He probably would have been sent down, maybe a week or two or a month later, but it was that money right there going from max that you can make at AAA to the minimum you make at the major league level is
and just
so far apart.
And that life, the travel, the per diem, the hotels, and the service time. every day tax a little bit more after once you get vested into getting a check when you're just got your feet up at the end of it all, and it deprived of that. Our friend John Harden during the happy hour, he made this point about all the bonuses paid out for excelling with the cheating. I heard this morning Matt Vasgersian on MLB Network suggest if any of the Astros are truly repulsed, really remorseful, how about the World Series share to a Houston charity? It's always easy to spend somebody else's money too, though.
Yeah, it is. It's very easy for me to give away your money faster. I'll give away your money faster than I'll give my own away. I think that would be the best way to save face if you're going to give it back. I don't think any of them will, and I ultimately don't think any of them should, because everybody in the team was doing it. It's not like just a handful of guys were doing it that cost the whole organization this black eye. It was everybody, so you can't really single out people to make them pay.
Potentially down the road, 3, maybe 4 Hall of Famers off that Astros: Springer, Carrera, Bregman, and Altuve.
I'd say 3 or 4 of those, definitely.
I don't know what order, but Altuve, with the buzzer aspect to it, now if he ever fesses up or it's disclosed, I think he'll be forced out of the game.
Yeah, if it is true with that, if the buzzer thing was real, the video of him saying, "Don't rip it off, don't rip the jersey off." If that is true, it definitely gives him a bigger black eye than everybody else, because I think he was on his
Joe Jackson
way.
Looking better and better, isn't he?
Yeah, he really
Even
is.
old Pete Rose looking a little better.
Well, Shoeless Joe really didn't throw the series. He
hit 375 for the series.
Yeah, he did, and the series only home run, so you can't really blame him for that one. But he did take the money, so there is that. But with Altuve, I think he was the leader in the clubhouse to be probably the first Hall of Famer out of that group of 4 that you just said.
Tiger Woods now 3 under, has dropped a shot through 12. First round of his tournament, the Genesis Open at famed Riviera in Los Angeles. And Sunday afternoon, it will be quite the mismatch of sports for the TV viewer. You have Daytona, you have the All-Star festivities. Neither of those do a whole lot for me. I'll peek in on both, and noted Daytona expert, having picked the winner last year in the FedEx car, Denny Hamlin.
You are a racing guy.
Yeah, I am. Golf, and just a tour stop, one of the better ones of the tour stop, and
but a really good field,
and the buffet of college basketball. That's a different Sunday, and the XFL. That's a different Sunday afternoon of TV watching.
Man, I got a lot to watch. I don't know which one I'll probably watch the most of.
Is it a lot to watch or nothing to watch?
That is the ultimate question right there, because there's none of it that I'm really have to tune into. I'll check in on the XFL, I'll check in on the golf.
Name me one of the XFL games being played this weekend. And I can't either.
Seattle Dragons versus the Houston Roughnecks. Take a shot at it, maybe. I don't know.
You're making up names.
Those are real teams.
Are they real?
Seattle Dragons versus Houston Roughnecks. Let's look at it.
Hour 2 in the books. Hour 3 starts with Chris Raby from down in Jupiter. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, AM 560, 87.7 and 96.1.
It's February. Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Are you considering replacing your air conditioning system this spring? Conway Services and Carrier have teamed up to make now the perfect time to replace that old energy-guzzling system. February is one of our slowest months of the year. Our warehouse is full and our crews are slow. So to spark business during these slow winter months, Conway Services is giving away Carrier 80% gas furnaces absolutely free with the purchase of a standard Carrier air conditioning system. That's right, purchase a Carrier air conditioning system in the month of February and get the gas furnace for free. If that's not enough, we'll include an April air cleaner, a 10-year parts warranty, and a free Nest thermostat. Plus 12 months interest free. See why I call it February? And with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company, and the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Head on over to Frontier Western Store for their famous February sale. This is Frontier's biggest sale of the year, and it is the time to save big on boots and apparel. All men's jeans are now on sale. Ariat denim $10 off. Wrangler and Carhartt pants $5 off. Select styles marked down even more, up to half price. There's huge savings on Carhartt shirts as well. Select clearance shirts and outerwear up to 50% off. Ariat shirts and jackets discounted as well. Hurry in for best selections. Women's t-shirts by Simply Southern, Girly Girl, and Puppy Love as low as $10. Frontier has markdowns in the boot room as well. Hundreds of boots by Double H, Rocky, Durango, and Ariat. Now priced to move to make room for new spring arrivals. Stop by Frontier today and grab your next pair of dress or work boots. It's the famous February sale at Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into Corky's and getting one of their family party packs. How can you go wrong with pork, beans, slaw, sauce, and buns for only $5.99 a person? It is so easy. I can call ahead, order online, or just pop in. Tailgating can't get any easier. Tell them Penny sent you.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
The Can-Am Spring Fever event is here and ready to take you on the ultimate off-road ride and get you some serious savings. Can-Am is built for ripping through trails, crawling through mud, cruising over dunes, getting the job done. Get it done for less. Farmers and ranchers can save up to $1,500 on select 2020 Defender models, or even on select 2019 models, save up to $2,500 during the Spring Fever event. Get yourself a new Can-Am off-road vehicle at a great price. Visit us today, Olive Branch Motorsports, 5656 Goodman Road, or online at obmotorcycleatv.com.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1, and 87.7 FM, as well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app, and at home, tell Alexa or Google to play Sports 56. If it's happening in the world of sports, we've got it covered. Wherever you are, stay tuned to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sportstime on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sportstime is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Thank you very much, Drew, and we welcome you back to the third and final hour of our show today. Dave in Cincinnati getting set in about an hour. Opening tip of the Tigers and the Bearcats in the Queen City. He'll be back with us tomorrow afternoon. Full show 3 to 6 tomorrow afternoon to end this week. Tomorrow, Valentine's Day, and the Grizzlies at 28-26 with a long break, sitting pretty safely in the 8th seed. While the Tigers, they have to play tonight. We go to Jupiter, Florida to talk with Chris Raby. Check in with him for the first time this calendar year to talk mostly about baseball's controversy around the Astros, but we'll get some Redbirds and Cardinals talk in as well. This hour brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales. They specialize in late model cars with low mileage, very high standards at DeSoto Auto Sales. All the cars are test-driven, checked out head to toe, quite literally bumper to bumper. Unlimited inventory. Every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find it for you. It's on the lot. It'd be rare if it's not on the lot. There are a lot of cars down there on Goodman Road, 5704 Goodman Road to be exact. You'll walk into DeSoto Auto Sales and be treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back, down-home environment. No high-pressure sales, but they do care about your time. They know we're living in a world today that time matters, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. And that's walking in, test driving your car, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in 45 minutes. You can do it on your lunch hour. You can do it immediately after work. And they know that time matters at DeSoto Auto Sales. Check out the referrals online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. 662-890-7184. Come on down to Goodman Road, to DeSoto County, to DeSoto Auto Sales for the town and country experience. Down to Jupiter we go. I bet that weather's nicer than St. Louis weather this time of year, Chris Raby.
Yeah, it's not bad down here at all, Brett. Can't complain. I know it's cold up in St. Louis and throughout a lot of the country, so I am certainly happy to be in the Florida weather right now.
If you won the Powerball, would you buy a place in Palm Beach County?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It
Absolutely.
is unbelievable.
Absolutely. If it
just wasn't in Eastern time zone, Chris.
Yeah, and that is miserable. Like the Blues are in Vegas tonight. They were in Anaheim a couple of nights ago, and 10 o'clock local starts for those games here is rough. But yeah, Palm Beach County is remarkable. Jupiter and West Palm are, is one of the coolest places that I've ever been. An unbelievable mix of just, the most fabulously wealthy probably in the entire world, but also just, good people and, a normal town. So it's pretty much perfect, I think, in terms of location, especially now that the Astros and Nationals are just down the street. We've got, the Cardinals, Marlins, Astros, Nationals all within 10 minutes. The Mets up in Port St. Lucie. So, a good mix of teams to play and ways to get around. And now that I've done this, a handful of times, I know my way around pretty well. So, it's nice. I always enjoy coming down here. Long days and a lot of work, but certainly have a lot of fun doing it.
And always a good Rolls Royce count in the Palm Beach area up and down Ocean Drive, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. I never feel as dirt poor as I do when I pull up to a red light in my rented Chevy Malibu, and there's Rolls Royce, Aston Martin DB9, Maseratis are they're like the equivalent of a Toyota Camry down here, which I drive. Toyota Camry, not a Maserati, but yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
I'm going to be proud when I go to my car tonight and when I go to my Chevy Malibu when I get to my car tonight. All right, Chris, today.
I'll tell you what, I want to buy a Chevy Malibu after renting one now. I request that from the rental place every year. It's the best, and nothing like a rental car where you know how to use everything because you've had the same one for a month each of the last 3 years.
Great car. I got 119 on mine, and I mean, all I've replaced are the windshield wipers. I promise you. Great car.
Beautiful.
Chris, Jim Crane today. It was really sad to watch him laboring. It was one of the moments where you wanted the old Gong Show and just pull the plug on it. You're making it so much worse, and he made it so much worse.
Yeah, it's really weird. And just from a PR 101 standpoint, I think that we as a society and as sports fans are always eager to give the benefit of the doubt, right? And we're eager to forgive and forget, and we're eager to move on. And that's why I think that despite some of the things that some athletes of varying magnitude and stature have done over the course of recent sports history, if you own it, if you throw yourself at the mercy of the court, if you pull an Andy Pettit, you will essentially be forgiven and everyone will move on. The Astros have been so defiant and so belligerent throughout this entire thing. And now it even makes it seem even worse because if you go back and look at some of the press conferences and some of the media exposure throughout this when people didn't know what was happening, they're kind of being, jerks about it, laughing about it, cracking wise about it in press conferences and whatnot. So the fact that, they haven't just thrown themselves at the mercy of the court or figured out some way to deal with this crisis, deal with this issue is really beyond me. And it goes from Crane to the players. I thought the most remorseful guy, ironically enough, was Dusty Baker.
and he wasn't even involved.
Yeah, come
he
on,
was
Dusty.
the only one who seemed to be saying the right things. So I don't get it, man. Like, Brett, I actually, went back and watched Andy Pettit's apology at Yankees spring training, however long ago that was. And he just says, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
He was sincere.
I'm sorry to fans. I'm sorry to players. I'm sorry to my team. I'm sorry to young kids who looked up to me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And everyone's like, okay, cool. But the Astros have just kind of doubled down on this, like, well, maybe we did this, but here's why we did this. And almost like, you just don't get it, and, you wouldn't really get it. And Jim Crane saying, well, it wasn't me doing it. And A.J. Hinch saying, well, I wish the players weren't doing it. The players saying, well, kind of just nothing. So it's really weird, and you're right. They've made it worse. Like, what's the best way to get out of a hole? Stop digging. And they've just kept digging and digging and digging and digging. And, in doing all that, it's still a story. Like, if they just apologized at that Fan Fest a couple of months ago, the media still would have had their time today to talk to them, but they would have just apologized. And I think they would have been viewed, especially from the casual baseball fan, or the baseball fan who has no skin in the game, is not an Astros fan, probably with a little bit more sympathy. Right now, that they're still seen as kind of these evil cartoon villains.
Chris, how much in the Cardinals organization, among Cardinals people, do you find, I don't know if I'll use glee about it, but with the case a few years ago that the Cardinal employee, definitely guilty, went to prison, should have, crossed many, many lines, violated the law. I won't say Lou Now and the Astros took a holier than thou, but they took a pretty high-browed approach of how dare the Cardinals do this. Anybody in Cardinals world going good enough for them?
I think that maybe the reason there was that reaction a couple of years ago is that was, by every account, by baseball's investigation, by anyone you talk to, one guy doing an isolated thing, right? And
lone wolf.
I think it was portrayed not just by the Astros, but I think sometimes the Cardinals get a unique handling by the national media, I'll put it that way.
Yes.
Or the baseball media. There was kind of this framing of that as, oh, here's the Cardinals, like they say they're the best in the Cardinal way, and look what they're doing. So the Cardinals, I thought, kind of let that roll off their backs. But I do think that there's not maybe a glee in this, but I think there is some sort of, I don't know what the right word is. Maybe
I don't either.
Maybe a relief.
Come up.
That something.
Maybe
a relief that something that was systemic in the Astros organization, that was from the top, all the way down, that they got caught. And they got caught because of one of their own guys. I've talked to players who said, yeah, we kind of knew things were going on. And, guys have said, that's why Mike Shildt and Mike Maddox would go out, and sometimes Mike Maddox would go out to the mound and give the pitcher a new set of cards. And I know that sometimes we roll our eyes and laugh about the Cardinals every three pitches or other teams. I can't speak because I only watch the Cardinals as closely as I do. Looking down at their cards in their back pocket, or Andrew Miller in his hat, that's switching up signs, Brett. It's not scouting reports. And they were doing that because they were paranoid, because they knew that there were teams trying to
get ahead of them.
And players will say they heard rumblings and they heard that this was happening, or, you'd wonder how in the world does Jose Altuve go the other way off an Aroldis Chapman slider for a home run? Like, how does that happen? So I don't know if there's glee as much as people knew this was happening and the Astros got their comeuppance. And maybe the players didn't, but, A.J. Hinch did and Jeff Luhnow did. And, it's not just that. It's reading more the accounts of how the culture of that club has maybe eroded to the point where, the working environment for maybe, let's say, female journalists during the postseason last year, or for other employees, wasn't
real
a
bad
good
look.
environment. And I don't know if anyone wishes that upon anyone, because, you don't want anyone to have to deal with that kind of a situation. But maybe there's relief that, even if Major League Baseball wasn't going to turn these stones over themselves, someone turned them over, and then the investigation took place. I don't know if there's excitement in the fact that baseball may have tried to kind of put a lid on this, or maybe wasn't as eager to dive into this independently as perhaps they should have been. But, they certainly, the Astros and, a couple of guys that were outside the organization in Beltran and Cora have all had to deal with this.
Whose career is really over? A.J. Hinch, Lou Now, or Beltran? Beltran will never manage, will he?
I think Jeff Lunau.
Wow.
The Beltran thing is, I think, interesting because none of the other players right now are being punished. So if he was still an active player, and if he had not retired and taken the Mets job, and then let's say played and then took the job in a couple of years, would the handling of that be affected? I think A.J. Hinch, I think Alex Cora, I think there's still perhaps time for them to throw themselves on the floor and beg for forgiveness. I think Hinch started that with the MLB Network sit-down with Tom Verducci, although maybe he didn't come out of that looking as great as his team thought he would. But, for Luna, I think it's done. I mean, that Wall Street Journal piece was damning in terms of how it happened, in terms of almost his giddiness over the situation. I mean, how could you ever, or why as an owner would you ever trust that man to
couldn't do it,
to run a franchise? Again, I'm not judging him as a person. I'm just saying I think professionally it's done.
Yeah, you want him to go on and
Chris Correa will never get a job in baseball again. Never.
Right. You want Jeff Lunau to go on and have the rest of a good life, and he may be a fantastic medical supplies rep. He may be a great stockbroker. You're just saying it's over in baseball.
I mean, that would be my guess, and who knows? Because there are perhaps a lot of listen. We thought A-Rod was done.
We sure did.
He was the biggest villain in the sports universe, and now he's a rising media star. I love the guy.
I was defending A-Rod last night to somebody.
Yeah, he's down on the field dancing while J-Lo does her thing at the Super Bowl halftime show. I'll never say never because, there are lots of redemption stories, and you can go through the spin cycle and come out the other side. But my goodness. I guess the pessimist in me says if all of that stuff was what was reported by the Wall Street Journal, I just assume it was way worse than that, right? So if it is, then that's pretty bad. But again, there's A-Rod. Millions of people follow O.J. Simpson on Twitter, so I guess never say never. There can always be
that's right.
There can always be a second chance, and I'm all for second chances. So
Me too.
I'm not saying one way or another.
I'm the recipient of about 25 of them.
Yeah, I'm probably double that. But holy cow, it's
that was just 25 today, Chris. I've got 25 second chances today.
It's pretty damning though what happened, and I imagine that it would take a lot of work for him to put himself in a position to be trusted to run a team again.
And I have mostly always, I've not been a fan of, but I've mostly always just kind of, plus or minus, more plus for the Houston Astros. Yeah, I got into the rivalry years with the Cardinals and the Killer Bees and that ballpark that sometimes could aggravate me. But I've got a friend of mine that lives in New Orleans, and I didn't know this, but did you know the team of New Orleans, like the team of Memphis, it's obviously the Cardinals, but the Major League Baseball affinity, kind of the New Orleans team, it's Houston. He goes to a sports bar a lot of nights. It's predominantly a baseball sports bar, believe it or not, in New Orleans, and they're big Astros fans, and I can remember seeing the Astros in 2017 at Busch Stadium. In fact, it was the first night that they moved George Springer to lead the leadoff spot, and I texted him after seeing the Astros just demolish the Cardinals. They are really good. Well, they went on that run and won it in 17, been there in 18. I saw them again at Busch Stadium last year in 2 bulldozer performances against the Cardinals, where the Cardinals never led in either game. I've mostly always liked them. They will get the treatment at every ballpark they go to this year, and they're going to have players thrown at.
Yeah, they will. There will be a lot of retaliation. I think Joe Madden has already kind of alluded to the fact that they've got to play Houston in the first game, and he's going to bring in a reliever and perhaps have the reliever
going to the dome.
I heard the second hand have them hit someone because A, he wants to protest the new rule, and B, because it's the Astros. But yeah, they'll get it, and guys who weren't even on that team or weren't even involved will get it. Anyone that was connected to that team will probably get it. So that'll happen. Mike Fiers will probably get it. I don't know about fans, but certainly maybe from fellow players. I don't know what he'll have to deal with, but, it's all runoff from what happened. And, it's kind of cool, the New Orleans-Houston thing. I didn't know that. Maybe as well the two cities bonding over – maybe the two cities bonding over incredible tragedy in terms of the hurricanes that affected both of those cities. And that's a cool connection. And, if you live in New Orleans and you're not all in for the baby cakes, why not root for the Astros?
Chris, breaking news, no more baby cakes. They moved to Wichita this year, man.
Oh, no!
Yeah. It's the end of the ballpark out by the airport. No, the last year was the end of it.
Can they please just call them, though, the Wichita baby cakes?
No, I think it's even worse.
Because that would make no sense, and it would be great.
Oh, I got to find it. But Wichita even went crazier with a nickname. It's worse than Omaha and what is the name of it? Find it for me, Drew. But we're visiting with Chris Raby from KMOX Radio in St. Louis. He's at spring training down in Jupiter with the Cardinals. Okay, 162-0 for the Cardinals.
Yeah, sure. Undefeated right now. I do think that it's interesting that the team that won the division last year got to the NLCS, ran into a team that I think will look back perhaps as historically hot from whatever the end of May until the end of the year.
So fun.
It's almost looked as I don't know, not a failure, but almost like the previous 3 years of the team missed the playoffs.
Yeah, the sweep did it. It was the sweep aspect to it. We just didn't even compete against the Nats.
Yeah, it's weird, Brett. It's almost like if they had lost 3-1 to the Braves in Game 5, or if they had lost in Game 4 at Busch Stadium for the comeback, it wouldn't be viewed like that. But, I think that there is certainly legitimate reasons to question the lineup and the offseason and the lack of activity perhaps in the offseason. I also think there is a disproportionate sense of the trade market, what's available and what the cost would be for some of those pieces. And I think that the Cardinals probably look around the Central and say, we can win this division again without having to take on a ton more payroll and perhaps saddle ourselves to another massive contract that we're going to regret and have to deal with in a couple of years, or B, giving up the farm to acquire a veteran who has a lot of money and a lot of control years left on their contract. So I think this team, probably feels, and I know the players, but I think if you look objectively at this team, even with the couple of moves they've made, they're not any worse off than the Cubs or Brewers. The Reds are improved, but improved from what? What did they win last year? 75 games?
So they win 85. What's that win?
How improved are they? Yeah. So, I think the Cardinals feel like they can double down on their pitching and defense. I think you're cautiously optimistic that a couple of guys can bounce back and return to kind of their career levels, and you hope that that's enough. The pitching is great, and I think the bullpen is great. I think both of those are going to be incredible strengths, and then you hope that the offense is enough. You get some guys to break out, maybe both from a regression standpoint and also, maybe a Dylan Carlson, maybe a Lane Thomas. So, I understand the angst from fans when you don't go out and make huge trades or sign big-ticket free agents, but, I think they're positioned well right now in the Central as we sit here on February 13th.
Wichita wind surge.
There you go. What is a wind surge?
Yeah, come on. If all else fails in naming your minor league affiliate, go with something that relates to your parent club. Even if you have to be Omaha Royals, go with that over Wind Chasers or Wind Surge or Baby Cakes.
Have you looked at the logo of it yet?
I don't know that I want to.
It's a W with a horse with wings flying through it. I guess that's what
that could frighten small children.
I guess that's what a wind surge is, a horse with wings.
Chris Raby, you have a good time down at spring training. We'll check back with you, I know, a couple of times before y'all make the move North. Season starts on Thursday, March 26th.
Absolutely, and baseball a week from Saturday, so can't wait.
I'm ready. Thank you, Chris Raby. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. Chris Raby with KMOX checking in with us. Chris Raby, proud graduate of the WHBQ Flynn family of stations, and we loved having him here, and we love watching his success with KMOX and with the Cardinals. Tomorrow, another WHBQ grad, our friend David Cobb from CBS Sportsline, taking him to lunch. Guess where I'm taking him? Jason's Deli. You got it. We're meeting tomorrow. You want to join us?
I probably can.
Okay. I thought I'd lost you there for a second a minute ago.
Oh,
what happened? Something go down the wrong pipe?
Some just water came out the wrong end.
I saw headphones.
I about fell on the floor.
I saw headphones and the chair go over, and if you go out, I don't know what I would.
We're all doomed. Yeah.
I don't know what I would. How would I get to 6 o'clock?
You just keep talking, and hopefully I wake up by 6.
Well, I had to get in there somehow.
But once again, just keep talking.
I'm not kidding you. It looked like a train wreck in there a second ago. And I mean, face red. You kind of came up for air a little bit. Everything okay?
I'm good now. But if you're not watching on the live stream, you definitely should be just for that moment.
I'm meeting a friend, David Cobb, tomorrow at Jason's Deli, and I suggest that's a great way to start Valentine's Day. Take your honey at lunchtime, or maybe even early dinner time tonight. Right now, I talk about Jason's Deli at lunch. But fantastic at the dinner time. Get there right now early. I know the Tigers game will be on the TV at all the locations at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. All the great salads, all the meats, cheese, bread, spreads, all the delicious food at all the Jason's Deli. The chicken salads, the chicken club salad, the nutty mixed up salad, Big Chef salad, chicken Caesar salad, and my favorite, the taco salad, and all those great sandwiches. The Beef Eater, the Deli Burger, the Deli Cowboy, the New York Yankee sandwich. Dave says the best corned beef sandwich in town. I don't eat corned beef anywhere, but everybody tells me the best in town is at Jason's Deli. I love all the food, and I love that salad bar. Over 30 items on that great salad bar just to choose from. And catering anytime, anywhere. Anybody having a Daytona watch party on Sunday? Let Jason's Deli cater. Anybody watching XFL Sunday? Let Jason's Deli cater. I bet you there will be some all-star. And in years to come, we have John Jaron in there. I know they'll be catering for a lot of people there. And at all locations, free ice cream in the restaurant. And even known poachers like Dave sometimes just joining me to eat the ice cream. They keep an eye out for those people, too. Check them out online at jasonsdeli.com. When we come back, we will talk with Blake Lovell from Clutch Points app and Blue Ribbon Magazine and Marching to Madness, his podcast, about the SEC and the big games tonight in the AAC. Again, if it goes wrong tonight, Tigers lose, Wichita State win tomorrow morning, be looking at the Tigers in that 6th spot in the AAC. Can avert that by winning, then it wouldn't matter what Wichita State does. When we come back, we visit with Blake Lovell. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. Drew Barrett producing on Real Sports Talk, AM 560, 87.7, and 96.1.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hurts. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
The best place to go for all things guns and gear is what you hear me talking about all the time. Collierville Guns and Gear has the only one-stop sound suppressor silencer shop in one place on Highway 72 in Collierville. Fingerprints, photo, trust, and notary all in one place. Only place in Tennessee that you can do that. Protecting your kids' ears and your ears and getting less recoil is huge. If you've not been to Tactical Guns and Gear, I promise they have all the latest and best guns and rifles before other shops even have them ordered. And how great is it that you can ask Jim or Jake to add all the gear you want to any gun or rifle, and they'll do the custom package for you. Gun, scope, sight, sling, case, balancer, and ammo, all done. A perfectly balanced rifle is everything, and the right scope is good too. All eyes are different. You may want red or green or night vision. Make sure Jim or Jake knows. For all things guns and gear, head to Tactical Guns and Gear on Highway 72 in Collierville and tell them Eli says hi. Online at tacticalgunsandgear.net.
Brian Elders Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. It's been a particularly rainy season, and that stain on your ceiling isn't getting any smaller, exposing your family to the possibility of mold. Let me come take a look. 867-0303. Our technicians are Owens Corning Platinum Preferred, so don't let someone tell you that it has to be replaced if all you need is a repair to get several more years of life. 867-0303. Have me on your speed dial for when life's little catastrophes come up. 867-0303. Upgrade your roof to a beautiful Owens Corning Duration Architectural Shingle with a 50-year warranty and an unheard of 25-year labor guarantee. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a competitive estimate right over the phone. Buy now and pay nothing till 2022 with approved credit. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
If you've always thought, hey, I'd look pretty good in Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus thinks so too. Lexus is offering you the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Great offers on all 2020 models and special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500. Hey, you look pretty good there. Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event at Lexus of Memphis. Experience amazing. Join the Midday Show this Friday from 10 to 1 at Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch on Goodman Road. This is Frontier's biggest sale of the year, and it's time to save big on boots and apparel. All men's jeans are now on sale. Harriet Denim $10 off. Wrangler and Carhartt pants $5 off. Select styles marked down even more, up to half price. We'll have burrito boxes from Moe's Southwest Grill for lunch, so come hungry. Join us this Friday from 10 to 1 at Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
About 30 minutes out from the Tiger tip in Cincinnati. That's where Dave, he is courtside handling the duties for the Tigers tonight in that game. He'll be back with us tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. Big one for the Tigers tonight. Big one in the AAC tonight between Wichita and UCF. No SEC games. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, weeknight. They're all done. Everybody at the 11-game mark back at it on Saturday. But we talk college basketball with our friend Blake Lovell from Clutch Points app and Marching to Madness podcast and contributor to Blue Ribbon Magazine. We do it every week at this time. And, Blake, I want to start with, in this crazy year of college basketball and the kind of the musical chairs of team at the top, Baylor's gotten there and stayed there a while. Congratulations to Baylor, I say.
Yeah, no, they have, Brad. I tell you, and that's the one, look, we can use whatever numbers and analytics what we want, but you use the eye test on Baylor, and you can see that they're the real deal. I tell you, I haven't seen a team, that league, the Big 12, is all defense. We know that. I mean, you've got Kansas, West Virginia, Baylor, all these teams play as well as they do on defense. But, man, this team, they've always been physical. They've always rebounded well under Scott Drew, but they're just long. They're athletic. They've got all the tools I think you need to win a national championship. And as we've seen, I mean, really, aside from a 3-point loss to Washington on November the 8th, they've been pretty dang good.
November 8th was a long time ago. That was a Friday night. That was the night of the controversy first starting to swirl around James Wiseman before the Tigers UIC game. You kind of just described in Baylor the last year and even the year before with the historic loss. you really kind of described UVA the last few years. And my question about Virginia, especially after the historic loss to the 16 seed, but then last year, the ultimate redemption story, I always questioned, would they have enough? Could they win that 82-80 game in the tournament? Can Baylor?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, and that's what we say. I mean, that's why, the tournament, as we know, are ones that some of those games are really, grinded out, slugfest type of games, and I think a game like that would certainly be something Baylor would love because they're able to win a lot of those games. But, if it's, for example, let's just use this as an example, and I'm not even saying, that a team like Alabama is going to make the tournament, but just coming off of watching that game last night, between Alabama and Auburn, you got an Alabama team that plays one of the fastest pace in the country. They shoot a ton of threes. What if Baylor runs into a team like that in the tournament, a team that just can get up and down the court, they're going to push the pace, and they shoot a lot of threes. And we know, the three-pointer can be the great equalizer. So that's probably the type of scenario you don't want to see if you're Baylor because they do play at a slower pace. They want to slow teams down, be physical, aggressive, play defense. But if they do get in a game like that, as we're saying, it could be a little interesting.
The original shock value of the college basketball scandal, it hit big, we were expecting. I think I even said that Rick Pitino could go to jail. Well, he didn't, but some did, and Chuck Person, his career and good reputation ruined. Now the breaking news today of South Carolina being the latest school to receive notice of allegations from the NCAA in wake of the college basketball scandal. If the FBI kind of passed on it, what's the NCAA going to do, Blake?
Yeah, I don't know either, and that's the thing is I'm not sure where any of this goes from here. I think we talked about this when all of this first started. Anyone who thinks they know kind of what the next move is, it's just really hard to know. And like you said, based on what happened with the FBI stuff, now you get to the NCAA situation. What do they do from here? Where does this go? And I don't really know. I think that's what everybody's kind of looking at right now and saying, well, how do we know, first of all, we never know what the NCAA is going to do, but especially in a situation like this where it's something that is a very high-profile situation for college basketball and has been since all this started. So it's going to be interesting. Like you said, South Carolina, the latest team to receive it. I know there's some other teams out there we talked about before. You wouldn't be surprised to see them, get something here along the way. But what actually happens from it, I think it's so hard to tell because we just never know with the NCAA.
And South Carolina and Frank Martin, they're playing probably their best ball of the year.
Yeah, no, they are. I said that to someone earlier. I think South Carolina, which we had this conversation, or we have for several years now with them, where if you play the what-if game, and it's so hard to do, but if you take away their losses to Boston University and Stetson, 2 games where they just completely came in flat, had no business losing either one of those games. If you take those away, they're probably in the NCAA tournament right now. Mm-hmm. And right now, though, they're not. Yeah, and that's the thing. They're in the tournament because they have good wins. They beat Kentucky, they beat Virginia, they beat Arkansas. It's not that they don't have good wins. It's just that they lose these games they shouldn't lose, and this was the same theme last year. Let's remember, they finished 4th in the SEC last year, but that only came after a 4-7 start, and then they finally, turned things open and were able to play well enough in SEC play to where they had a chance. But they didn't have enough quality wins because the bad losses kind of outweighed everything, and that's the situation they're in now. But the good news for them is that they have several opportunities here. The next 3, they've got Tennessee, Mississippi State, and LSU, all quality win opportunities. If they can go 2-1 in those, I think you're going to see South Carolina start to sneak back into that conversation, even with those bad losses they had earlier in the season.
We will get back to the SEC, but I want to talk about the AAC. I think I do. I don't want to get too puffy about it, but I think I've got a decent handle on the AAC and on the Memphis Tigers. My handle on the Memphis Tigers, in a nutshell, is this: inexperienced team with a second-year coach that's had a lot of unforeseen things go wrong for them, kind of a Murphy Law year. It's not an excuse. It's a fact. Some injuries they weren't expecting, and the season has kind of degenerated into what is appearing to be a big disappointment. What's your take on the Memphis Tigers?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things we talked about those throughout the season, all the different things and really the twists and turns that We knew the one thing we knew going into the season about Memphis was that they were going to be the least experienced team in the country. And I think knowing that no matter how talented the guys are that you have on the floor, knowing that you're playing an entire lineup of underclassmen and, a bulk of them are freshmen, guys who have not played in college before. It's a similar conversation we have sometimes with Kentucky or maybe Duke, depending on what their rosters look like. But it's not the exact same, because I think this is sort of a different situation in that, look, I mean, it's a situation like we're saying where you have a coach that, John Calipari and Coach K, they've been doing this for a long time at this level. They know sort of some of the tweaks you have to make, I think, with some of these younger type of teams. And while I think Penny is, he's been able to do that, we saw how well they started. They have kind of hit that point that a lot of teams hit in conference play where, hey, you start to see some of these teams twice. You start to go through the grind of a conference schedule, no matter what conference you're in. It can be grueling. And, the AAC, we said it going into the season, you feel like it's a conference that's improved. We've seen some of these teams take a step forward, like Tulsa. Look at where SMU's at. There's lots of different teams in there that play some different styles. And it's sort of a strategic type of thing every single night where it can be a grind. And I think Memphis sort of run into that. And like we're saying now, I mean, certainly, every game's the most important game moving forward now for Memphis in terms of trying to make the NCAA tournament. And it obviously starts tonight at Cincinnati.
And I'm with you on the experienced coaches, just those laps around the track. They've been there a lot of times, but even veteran coaches like Roy Williams, and night in and night out, Blake, it looks like he's absolutely miserable. And this losing is just grinding his gears down to nothing. There are a lot of nights, even with his son on the team, Jim Boeheim doesn't look very happy.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. It's just, I mean, you think about it, and that's what we say with this comparison is, I mean, you think about guys like that who've been doing this for as long as they have, and, years like this, you're not prepared for years like this, like especially, for Roy. I mean, who in their right mind would have ever been sitting here for you and I to be talking on February 13th and seeing North Carolina at the very bottom of the ACC standing?
Two teams beneath them.
Yeah, it's incredible. And you don't know I don't even know how you explain it, because it is. It's something where, sometimes a season, and especially in a season like this in college basketball, where things have been so crazy, it's just, you never know. And I think that's what it comes down to is even coaches like that, they have years where literally they feel like everything can go wrong with their team. And we've seen that for someone like North Carolina this year.
In the ACC, does Josh Pastner survive this year?
Well, I mean, he certainly helped his cause by beating Louisville. I think that was nice.
And Blake, I'm sorry, with the updated standings, you're right. North Carolina's looking up at everybody. They're dead last. There's not anybody beneath them. I'm sorry.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was looking at it earlier, and I was thinking,
you're right. I'm sorry.
I thought they were 3-10.
Yeah.
And Miami, I think, 4-10, and somebody else is 4-10. Maybe that's Wake, probably.
Yeah,
that's it.
Wow.
But no, I mean, you're right. It's crazy to think about. But I mean, on the Georgia Tech front, I guess that's sort of a potential silver lining for Georgia Tech. That hey, it could be a lot worse. They are at 6-8, and they're kind of somehow in that middle range in the ACC still. But I think getting that win over Louisville, it helped them. There's no doubt about it. It was their biggest win of the season, I think, by far.
Josh has had big wins historically against Louisville. He beat Patino a couple times.
I was going to say, he's had some good wins while he's been at Georgia Tech. I think that's something that, and here's one of those things, too. You talk about how things play out. I mean, just think back to that first season they had, and none of us, I legitimately thought that first season they were going to be the worst team, worst Power 5 team. I mean, I had no doubts in my mind they would be the worst Power 5 team in the country, and they wound up, winning 21 games or whatever it was.
Good NIT run.
And had a great run in that, and since then we just haven't been able to, have any sort of, I think, sustained, consistent offense. They're defensive-minded team, but they just haven't had it on offense. And I think, how they finish this season, because they're going to play some of those teams that are sort of in that middle of the pack, lower of the pack. I know they play Wake next week. They actually, get the week off here. But I just think however they finish is going to determine a lot of it, because really, if there's a year where, he's going to be able to sort of maybe convinced in a way to come back, it's probably a year like this just because they're going to end up finishing potentially in that middle range in the ACC just because of how bad some of those other teams have been at the bottom.
All right, I'm going to read out these SEC teams that are either 5-6 or 4-7: Alabama, Texas A&M, Arkansas, and Ole Miss. Any 1, 2 of those four get hot from this point on and really have a successful year?
I think that probably it's weird because I want to say Ole Miss is going to be in there.
Starts at Rupp Saturday, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, if they were to win that game,
Ooh.
I think they're a lot closer to the conversation than people would think.
Yeah.
Because remember, they've beaten Florida now, they've beaten Mississippi State, and they beat Penn State. That's the win. The Penn State win is the one that they're going to look back on. And let's say, if you look at their remaining schedule, because I was looking at everyone's schedules here, they've got Kentucky. They still have Alabama, they still have Auburn, and they still have Mississippi State.
Got to go to state.
Problem, yeah, and that's the problem is 3 of those 4 are on the road, and that's something where if they were to go 2-2 in those games, I don't care who you beat in that scenario, I think they're probably still in the conversation as long as you don't lose one of those games to Missouri or lose that game to Vanderbilt. And that's the thing with all of these teams right now. All those teams on the bubble, which Arkansas, I don't know about Arkansas right now. I'm not sure that they're going to ultimately be there. Just kind of knowing that they've lost these 3 in a row. I don't really know what's next for Arkansas in terms of, this is huge game against Mississippi State on
Crossroads
Saturday.
game Saturday at Bud
Yeah,
Walton.
that for both of those teams, it's a matter of, hey, whoever wins that game, they're going to take a step forward. And whoever doesn't is going to take certainly a step off the bubble, maybe, potentially, out of the conversation for now. But Alabama, too. It's like you think about Alabama, if they beat LSU, I think Alabama's numbers are good enough to where they're jumping right back in. So I tell you, Brett, I said to someone the other day, I could see the SEC getting 3 teams in. I could see the SEC getting 6 teams in and maybe having a team in one of the play-in games. Like, it's that weird. It's how it could play out. These next couple of weeks are going to be fun.
We'll watch it play out, and we'll talk about it again next Thursday. Blake, thank you so much. Great job. Really enjoyed it.
Always enjoy it, Brett. Thanks.
Thank you. Blake Lovell from Marching to Madness, his podcast, also with Clutch Points app, and a contributor to Blue Ribbon Magazine. Saturday in the SEC, it starts at noon at Bud Walton Arena, and it'll be rocking. Mississippi State and Arkansas in that one. At 1 o'clock at Rupp, Ole Miss at Kentucky. Georgia at Texas A&M in the 2:30 game. 3 o'clock LSU at Bama. 5 o'clock Auburn at Missouri. Also at 5 o'clock South Carolina hosting Tennessee. And the night game on the SEC Network at 7 o'clock. Florida trying to stabilize things a bit after a rocky stretch at home against Vanderbilt. And that's a good place to get well for them against Jerry Stackhouse in his first year against Mike White in a game that Mike White cannot afford to lose. It's that time of year. Tigers in Cincinnati. It starts in a few minutes. Before we can enjoy watching that, we've got to wrap up this day with Taco Bell Crunch Time. You're listening to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats, produced by Drew Parrott on Real Sports Talk, AM 560, 87.7, and 96.1.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Tiger Hoops fans have something extra to look forward to this coming March. Not only is it tournament time, but it's the opening of the Tiger Hoops exhibit at the Pink Palace Museum.
After Finch's two-pointer, Ronnie Robinson sank the shot that once again brought the two teams into a tie.
Come to the Pink Palace Museum this March and experience 100-plus years of Tiger men's and women's basketball, from their beginnings as the West Tennessee State Normal School to the present.
The Tigers are very much alive.
Don't miss the Tiger Hoops exhibit at the Pink Palace Museum, opening March 7th.
One thing I really admire about Central Barbecue is their commitment to quality.
Then why do they let you do their commercials?
I'm talking about their food. Everything is prepared with devotion to taking the time and effort to create perfect barbecue.
Oh, I know. That's exactly why I was wondering why...
They're not kidding with that slow-smoked Memphis-style slogan. They smoke their pork for 14 hours. Do they have to? They do if they want to be the best barbecue in Memphis, and they are.
And yet they let you just throw together...
There's nothing better than Central Barbecue because they care.
Except apparently about their radio ads.
And now, a page from the diary of Flo.
Dear Diary, there's something about protecting people's homes through Progressive that inspires me, because I just had an idea for a book. Well, it was originally an idea for a movie based on a play inspired by a podcast. But the idea is how you can save when you bundle home and auto. Might not be the best idea for a book.
Save an average of 17% on car insurance when you bundle home and auto through Progressive.
Maybe a radio commercial? Guess we'll never know.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and find your right fit. At Edwin Watts, they take customer service to a whole new level. Not only do they fit for clubs, they take pride in servicing customers throughout the entire store. They'll help you find the right shoes, bags, gloves, balls, apparel, and more. At Edwin Watts, you'll find name brand equipment at guaranteed lowest prices every day. So buy it, try it, they know you'll like it because Edwin Watts helped you find the right equipment. Visit Edwin Watts at 4625 Poplar in Memphis and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts, home of the 90-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, how many did we hit, Spain?
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working? It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Woo! Woo! Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Learned today, confirmed last night, confirmed this year, Ja Morant. He is must-see, showman. And he's not cocky. He's confident. He's not cocky. He delivers. He backs it up, and he can be the scorer. He can be the facilitator. He will only get better from outside as a shooter. The collector's item around town is anybody that has a Utah number 12. Bold call today. Retiring Ja Morant's jersey someday.
Huge bold call. I don't. That's really, really far out there. I mean, come on, right?
I'm seeing into the future.
Well, if you can be just as right as your record is at Grizzlies games, then I'll believe you.
7-1 at Grizzlies game this year. Only a few of us. I mean, my greatness may not fully be appreciated till after I'm gone.
Well, you know what they say. Your word's worth a penny when you're alive and $1 when you're dead.
We'll see. You may be around on the night you go to Ja Morant's retirement
I'll
jersey.
collect $1.
I want you to go, boy, old Brett, he was right back on February 13th.
I'll remember you then.
What'd you learn today?
I learned one of two things. First, I learned today that today is World Radio Day, so happy World Radio Day to you, Mr. Norsworthy.
And to you, Drew. It's World Radio every day for us, isn't it?
For us, it is. What I really learned today kind of ties in what Dave's talked about at the beginning of the show. The Tigers haven't beat Cincinnati on the road since 2008.
Yikes.
And if the Tigers do pull out the W tonight, it'll be the first time Memphis has beaten the Bearcats twice in one season since 1994-95 season.
Name the first song played on MTV.
No clue.
Video killed the radio star. I've been hearing about radio's death literally all my life. I think we're thriving, don't you?
I think we're doing good. I'm not worried about a paycheck coming in next week.
I have heard about AM radio and terrestrial radio and all
the
this.
XM and the Sirius was going to kill us.
Everything doing just fine. Thank you and happy radio day, everybody. I could have done without the Astros owner, Jimmy Crane, trying to clear the air, only made it worse. And the Astros just cannot, they will not be able to shake loose from this. They weren't alone, but they're the focus. They had the buzzers. They probably weren't alone in that either, I wouldn't think. And I don't know if Jeff Lunau or Hinch or Cora or Beltran ever works again. Chris Raby said Lunau will never work in baseball again, and that was a person that had made it to the top. He was only going to fill in more and more and more and try to get Hall of Fame talk at some point in his career. It's hard for GM type to do that, but now he's done. And a younger person, I mean, not real young, but not old either. He thought he was going to be in baseball for a long, long time, and he's done.
That's what happens when you cheat. That's also what I could have done without today with the Astros' apologies. Because it was extremely hollow and just a flat-out lie. They don't feel remorseful about it. They don't regret it. It hasn't been eating at them since they won the World Series in 2017. Because if they really had felt bad about cheating the game and cheating the fans, then it wouldn't have taken this long to come out. They don't feel bad they cheated. They feel bad they got caught.
Any apology is always better when there's true remorse, true contrition, and you're doing it with complete sincerity.
I mean, a month ago they were laughing about it. And now today they're really, really sorry? And I ain't buying it.
Who's laughing now? Tonight, keeping a close eye in mere minutes, the tip for the Tigers and Cincinnati. And isn't that something around college basketball? We only have one tip-off a game, the opening tip-off. Might have one to start overtime, but just one. And how many times do we have to have a redo? They can't get the one right anymore. Throwing the ball up is really difficult now.
Had it last weekend.
You had it in the Tiger game last weekend?
Yeah.
Had it at Oxford last Saturday. Had to have a redo, got to reset the clock and all that good stuff that goes with it. Tigers getting ready to tip. It feels like a tipping point game for really both tonight, Tigers and UC, if the season hadn't already tipped. Home against ECU and Tulane are the only gimmies I have left for the Tigers the rest of the way. Much hype season, biggest hype season maybe ever, could end in a lot of losses. Iowa at Indiana in the Big Ten. Remember Oregon? Remember that game way back then against Oregon? They've got 6 losses. Did you realize that?
Did not.
They play Colorado tonight. AAC, Wichita State, they play at UCF. Wichita State's been real wobbly lately. Only 2 NBA games, as everybody else is already enjoying the break somewhere, either in Chicago or somewhere very warmer than Chicago. Oklahoma City at New Orleans, go OKC, I think. And Clippers at Boston. I think OKC. Grizzlies can't go for the 6th or 7th spot, can they?
Anything can happen.
We're not going to get that daring, are we?
No. Let's just stay where we're at. I'm happy at the
retired Child's jersey today. Was that dumb?
It was.
Dumb?
I wouldn't say dumb. A little idiotic.
Dumb. Wait, let's go with dumb. That's better than idiotic. Maybe let's go with ignorant.
I'll allow it.
The literal definition of ignorant is not knowing the facts. If you're ignorant of something, maybe I was ignorant on that. I don't know. Dumb, idiotic, ignorant. Not a great way to end the Thursday World Radio Day.
No, definitely not, especially on such a historic day of World Radio Day. No pucks tonight? Not watching the Preds in Smashville?
No, I don't watch pucks until the Stanley Cup Finals, and maybe not even then.
Well, for people who do want to watch the Preds, they're playing the Islanders tonight.
We may have to revisit Stanley Cup picks at some point.
No, I don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that?
That was really bad.
Dave will be back with us tomorrow at 3 for Dave in his absence today. And for Drew, I'm Brett. Everybody have a safe night. Enjoy watching the Tigers or whatever college basketball or sports you're watching tonight. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow at 3. Good night.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch